to make a name for yourself like you never made before.
If he kicks his goal, Hawthorn are in the grand final. Oh, just a let go! You're guilty! Here is the magician at work. He should kick it. Up he comes. He kicks on!
You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me. Don't think, think, don't hope, do. At least you can come off and say, I did this, or I played on. At least I did something.
They've got their critics, but the Tigers keep on winning, and they're expected to win today. Hi everyone, welcome along to Colonial Stadium for more action from round 13 in the AFL competition. This afternoon, St Kilda against Richmond. Dennis Cometti alongside Gerard Healy, and certainly a golden opportunity, this one for the Tigers, Jerry.
Oh, no doubt, Dennis. They are expected to win, and I think their maturity will ensure that they do achieve that result. But Wayne Campbell, I think, has been an important player for them, growing as a side, a new captain. They've also got a coach in his second year and a bit of discussion about his contract in the press during the week. But I'd expect St Kilda to put up a good showing, but the Tigers to prevail.
Well, if the Tigers win, in fact, they move to third on the premiership table, and they play Hawthorn next Saturday at the MCG.
Look, the table says it all for Richmond. The ladder there, if they win, they can jump up, as you say. Then they can cement that position with a challenging match next week against the Hawks, who have got their own problems. But going in, I'm sure if the Tigers win today, they'll go in as favourites, and an exciting month or so coming up for them.
Well, the Saints have made just the one change, but they've lost their best player, Robert Harvey.
They have, and they're going to look for people like Aaron Hamill, new blokes to the club, and Fraser Gehrig to give them some leadership. They'll also be looking to some of the guys that have been there for a couple of years, like Lenny Hayes, to take a step up to cover the absence of Robert Harvey, and Nathan Bourke. Stuart Lowe also not there. So this is very much a new look side. This will be the side that's playing for St Kilda in 3 or 4 years, and hopefully playing with more success than they are at the moment.
Well, fair to say to win, Barry Hall needs to kick 5 or 6 this afternoon.
I reckon in a good side he's one of the most dangerous forwards in the competition, and that won't be lost on Danny Frawley. Andrew Callaway and Darren Gaspar were both All-Australians last year. I'd expect Callaway to get the job initially on Barry Hall. He's had a reasonable year, slowish early, but he was being played out of position, I believe, at fullback. Much more comfortable at centre-half back, and in the last few weeks that's where he's played, and he's been in exceptional form. But Barry Hall is the key to this side at the moment, along with Spider Everitt.
And July is crunch time as far as the Tigers are concerned. Looking ahead, in fact, I think the West Coast Eagles, the only easy one they've got between now and the end of the season.
They've got to set it up, don't they, in the next month, looking at Hawthorn, Port Adelaide, Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. They're all sides that have got claims to having a top 4 position, except for Melbourne, who are in the doldrums at the moment.
Games they can win.
They are certainly games they can win, and they're getting them at a time when their confidence is down a little bit. They bring back Matthew Richardson into the side, and what a time for him to come in. He gets a game against the Saints, hopefully just to fine-tune his form. He'll start in one of the key positions. You would think Ben Holland is also having a particularly good season as another tall foot. He's actually played in defence a fair bit this season as well, but they're looking pretty good, the Tigers. As you said at the opener, Dennis, they've got their critics, but they've also got some score on the board.
A couple of late changes there too. Daffy and Gale out of the team. There's an important player, Joel Bowden, averaging 24 possessions a game this season.
And very much the barometer of this side. He's a long left foot kick. He loves to run and bounce the ball. And when he's on song, generally the Tigers go on and win. Damien Ryan, you'd expect him to either start on the bench or get a tagging role like on a Joel Bowden. If it wasn't going to be Ryan, perhaps it'll be Mark Gale. But he's a player you just have to close down because he's so lethal with that left foot kick.
Now, 2 other games being played this afternoon at the SCG at Sydney against the Cats. Interesting game, vital game for both those clubs. And across in Perth, the late starting one this afternoon, West Coast against Melbourne at Subiaco Oval. But this is Sunday football from Colonial Stadium, set to go with the Saints and the Tigers, back with Paul Salmon and all of the action. Doug Hawkins too, right after this. The scene at Colonial Stadium, 2 players playing their 100th games this afternoon, tossing the coin. Andrew Thompson winning. Ben Holland calling in correctly. As we welcome Paul Salmon to the broadcast this afternoon. Hello, Paul. How do you see this one going?
Hello, Dennis, Gerard. Look, I'm looking forward to it a great deal. I've seen Richmond the past couple of weeks, and they really seem to have added another dimension to their game. In fact, they're applying the sort of sustained pressure that's brought them undone over the last few years, and it's quite exciting to watch. So, although St Kilda, you wouldn't discount them entirely, but the coverage of their key players, their great champions, is going to be a key to the day.
Let's go low down and get the low down. Doug Hawkins, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dennis, Gerard and the Fish. A little bit of mist, a little bit of fog in here at the moment before the roof was closed. Should be a great game of footy here, boys. When you look at St Kilda, no Lowe, no Bourke, no Harvey. You can't really see him beating the Tigers. Congratulations too to a couple of players. Andrew Thompson playing 100 games for the Saints. Ben Holland 100 games for Richmond. And one of the most respected clubmen at Richmond, Paul Broderick, playing 250. For mine, the Tigers, their forward line too good and too big. Back to you, Dennis.
Thanks, Doug. So they've locked the fog in. How about that? Some familiar faces there. If only they had those players out there on the ground. The two most experienced players, Stuart Lowe and Nathan Bourke.
And it looks like a change of roles. Matthew Knights, we know he's been tagging in recent weeks. He's going to Thompson, who I'm sure in recent years would have tagged Matthew Knights. It's only a matter of the mindset.
Play underway. Everitt goes up and thumps it down. Kazetsky came at the ball hard. He was taken down. And the ball still with Kazetsky going nowhere, so ball up.
Speaking of matchups, Gerard, you were quite right before the game. Gasper has gone to Hall and Callaway has gone to Hamill. And Garrick's got Richardson for the Saints, so some pretty interesting matchups there already.
Bounce down towards half forward. Ottens had it, lost it, goes again. Everitt slips it away. Peckett, who's been in good form, kicks inside the 50. Here comes Hall. Good mark.
He's a quality player, Barry Hall. He is a dangerous forward and he's a strong man. You just hope that St Kilda can build a side that can give him the opportunity to really express himself as a quality forward that he is.
Well, he just attacks the ball so well, doesn't he, Gerard? We see here he's just met it. Gasper's not an easy opponent. He usually takes the arms, but Barry was fantastic there, and he just seems to, since he's gone forward for the Saints in the last month, said, thank God I'm away from the key defensive post.
19 goals for this season. He did it 37 in total last year. Important kick, this one. He's off on the right foot. Goal.
Well, that's a tremendous start by the Saints. They got the ball out of the centre. They won it again from the first infield bounce, and they pushed the ball forward, and Barry Hall was on the end of it. Here's Peckett just driving the ball long to the top of the square. Malcolm Blight's favourite position. If in doubt, just go to the zone at the front of the square, and Barry Hall knew exactly where it was going to land, and he executed well.
Umpires today, Harvey, Avon and Hanley. Bounced in the middle. Ottens goes up, clean possession. This will be interesting. Everitt and Ottens. Everitt takes him down. Another bounce.
You've got to like the way Everitt has attacked the ball in the first two centre bounces there. He didn't give Ottens much breathing space at all.
He's having an excellent year, Fish. In fact, a lot of people at Barrack to St Kilda and see them regularly say he's the best ruckman in the competition at the moment.
Ottens to King, intercepted by Peckett, gets the hand pass away. Kazetsky slipped. Chance for Tivendale around the outer side. Peckett came again, well played. Kazetsky knocks it on. Crashing in was Hayes. Kazetsky is taken down. Tough afternoon.
What about the job they're asking this young Kazetsky, Gerard? He's played a bit of footy at centre-half back. He's lined up at centre-half forward today, it appears, and it's a big ask for a kid of his age and his experience, but he's stood up pretty well so far.
He's been a tremendous pickup, and we look forward to watching his development over the next few years, but what we do know is he's got plenty of talent.
Thompson tries to get it away. Beetham tries to feed it out. King was steamrolled. It's going to be a free kick to the Tigers. I was going to make the point. Kazetsky already tackled strongly 3 times, so a tough start to the afternoon for the young man as King drives it around the outer side, pitches behind the pack. Ozzie Jones, included this week, runs onto the footy close to the boundary line, ricochets to Elliott, who throws it onto the left boot, down towards half forward, close to the boundary line. It runs away from Coughlin, out of bounds throw in.
It's hard to pick up on screen, but I'll just try to explain. The last couple of weeks Richmond have been doing very effectively their aggressive run from their back half when they do get possession across half back from behind the plate. The ball is very impressive.
Jones with good touch that time, lays it off. The look away hand pass from Hamill. Kazetsky kicks inside the 50. Hall one out with Gaspar. Loose ball at the back. Runs away and out of bounds. Just repeating, Gale and Daffy out of the Tigers team. So boundary throw in, left full forward. Everitt trying to knock it towards the square. Chance for Davis close to the boundary line. Tries to keep it alive. Couldn't. It'll be tossed in again.
I'm not surprised at all to see the respect that Richmond's paying Andrew Thompson at the minute. His form of late has been exceptional. Matty Knights is it's a great credit to him.
Fell at their feet, the ruckman. Baker lost it. King scrambles it out towards half forward. Bad bounce for Beetham. Picked up by Thompson. Gave it away though. Broderick stood up in the tackle. Got it to Campbell. Campbell drives it down towards half forward. Otten sandwich, waiting behind, a chance for Mills now. He's away, can run to 50, closing is Jones. Won't get there in time, but affected the kick, I fancy. Wanders down towards the kick-off line. Gerard takes on Rogers, gets a hand pass away, back towards Jones to Plapp. Plapp is in the back pocket under pressure. Needs to be precise, and he was. Gets it to Hudgton. Mentioning those players who came out of the Tigers team, Hall and Coughlin are in. As Jones, getting plenty of the ball early, goes looking for Thompson, who fumbles across the line. So plenty of tempo to start this one. The Saints on top thanks to Barry Hall's goal. Early going, just over 16 minutes remaining in this term. A vocal crowd. A misty Colonial Stadium. Knights comes away, settles now on the left foot, fires it long. Not a good effort. It was only from about 45. Geary going back takes the mark on his chest. To Gale. Oh, dropped it. Goes looking for Elliott close to the boundary line. He takes it out.
Just going back to Andrew Mills, he had the great opportunity to start the match with a goal, but it is amazing, Fish, how many players struggle to kick when they're running flat out. You almost have to just give yourself that extra couple of yards to settle a bit.
No doubt about it, Gerard. A few yards just to, as we see, Matty Knights, I think, a snap again.
It was brilliant by Ottens to get it down. Gearick, the clever mark. Very clever. Plays on. He started well. Peckett, likewise. Up towards left half back. Everitt wanting it short. That's ignored.
Gee, Gearick's been good at full back, hasn't he? He's just found his niche for the time being in the St Kilda lineup, and St Kilda supporters will be very happy to see it too.
Here's Jones looking good at the back. Baker at centre half back. Gazetsky. Elliott running for him. Elliott's got it now, going down towards half forward. Where's Hall drifting back? He ignores Hall, goes to the pocket. Callaghan.
Vardy just giving Kazitsky too much space at the moment. Kazitsky's running sideways and running off and getting some good delivery. Good passage of play by the Saints. They did a real S-bend right through the centre of the ground. Started in their left back pocket and finished up in their right forward pocket.
Craig Callaghan. Normally pretty reliable. Lights it off the boot. It's a goal.
Well, they're on song, the Saints, Fish. They have clearly come to play today, and they're hitting their targets, etc. And some poor signs, I think it's fair to say, for the Tigers. When you miss those easy goals early, the danger sign goes up just a little bit.
Well, we saw the Bulldogs not take the opportunities yesterday against the Blues. The Hawks didn't do it against Lions, and they paid dearly for it. But it's great to see a side build a forward thrust from half back like St Kilda did on that occasion.
Reminiscent of the start yesterday by the Fremantle Dockers. Charged out of the blocks. 4 goals to the same direction. Advantages played. It was going to be a Saints free. Hayes kicks well inside the 50. Hamill got fingertips to it. Callaghan had it, lost it. Hamill feeds it wide. Voss kicks it goal. And kicks it behind. Could have done better. Had some time.
They're impressive though, the Saints. Their attack on the ball is well, it's absolutely wonderful. And we saw Hamill go to the contest there. He's in the top 25 in the competition for tackles laid, and for a guy who does most of his work inside the forward 50, it's a fantastic effort.
I reckon he's in the top 5 in the competition for vertical leap. He can just launch himself into the air,
doesn't he?
Cameron.
Good kick.
Bowden on the defensive 50. Back to Chaffee. Chaffee kicks it up towards the wing. Good kick too. Knights. Good overhead grab. Everitt was bearing down. Kicks towards the attacking 50. Richardson storming up the ground. Takes it full-chested. 65 metres from goal. Across the body towards the pocket. Rogers knocks it back, looking for Mills, missed him. Hayes has got it, gets the hand pass away. This is Hudson. That's ambitious. Here comes King. Didn't get there in time. Beetham kept his head. Davis is on up the ground. It will bounce to him. Davis has got it now. Will come back to Beetham around the outer side wing. Jones is on for the short one. Bypasses that. Taken by Hamill. Jones continues to run. Hamill though gets away. Ball kick. Ricochets off Vardy. The hand pass came from King back to Vardy. Vardy kicks it around the outer side. Ball close to the boundary line. It's out. Just a reminder, all the details of round 13 available on i7sport.com.au tonight.
Well, a pretty frenetic start to the game, and you're getting a bit of a workout here, Dennis. Been
Enjoying
up to it, by the way.
Haven't seen too many good ones this season. Tossed in, taken by Bowden, wrestled to the ground by Gale, and we'll have a ball up.
It's interesting, when Knights had possession on the wing only moments ago, he chose to go to a fast and hard-leading Richardson to the flank, and there was arguably a better option coming up the corridor to him. So Richo just attracts the ball so much.
The Tigers just playing with a couple of players extra in defence, Ben Holland and Chaffey.
Yep.
With the run of it, Thompson went to ground. Campbell claimed by Thompson. Gale wrestled down by Tivendale, and that ball's not coming out.
Well,
Gerard, sorry, Fish.
No,
Gerard, are you a bit surprised? I know quite well that Stephen Milne has started on the bench a few times for the Saints. The form he's been in the last couple of weeks, are you surprised he started on the bench today?
Well, Malcolm Blight sees him, I'm sure, Doug, as a pinch hitter, and I guess it's only a question of at what time of the quarter he is exposed. And I guess when you've got a bloke kick some goals early, you always put the question mark up.
Everett did well, spotted Voss. Out towards the wing. That's interesting. Now 50. Well, obviously no call from umpire Harvey. Knights arriving quickly, thinking that the man had moved off his line. That was Voss, but he hadn't given the call, the umpire, so you can't do that.
You can't do it, and you're better off, Gerard, just sitting behind the man with the ball and waiting for the call from the umpire. Getting a bit ahead of himself there, Matty.
So Voss has kicked there only behind. From 40 metres out is straighter this time.
Well, that's a gimme that the Tigers could well have done without, and unfortunately came from just a minor indiscretion that proved pretty costly from Matty Knights there. So he won't be happy about it. And Brett Voss, not a known goal kicker, so he'd be happy with that as well. It was a very good strike of the ball. So it's a good start. The Tigers over the last couple of weeks have had pretty good starts, so we're in foreign territory. Let's see how they can answer.
Well, this is the way you would have drawn it up. Interesting start. St Kilda away to the fast start. Their finishes have been poor this season. Knights to King. King goes down towards half-foot. Clap! Good grab, drifting in from the side of the pack. Kicks it out wide. Into space and Gale. He can run on. Gale on the wing goes down towards half forward. A lot of carry. Hamill leads back. Killaway will need to go. Dives on top of it. Feeds it out to Taunty to Gaspar. Chaffey now under pressure. Kept his head. Vardy virtually in the goal square. To the opposite pocket. Holland had to stretch. Bowden is deep.
Mills coming from the ground. David Bourke. Mills just lost flow in that contest, and his man grabbed a great mark in Clapp.
Bowden, we mentioned him, comes to the middle. Beautiful kick, telling kick. Gaspar right in the centre circle. Goes down towards the attacking 50. It's inside now. Off hands. Clapp's got it. Needs support. No one goes to him. Goes across the ground. Callaghan. Meters in the clear. Callaghan deep in his own defensive area. But it bounced for him. Very close to the line. He kept it in. And as a result, I think his concentration was broken. King got a hand to it on the outer side. Should have done better. Thompson feeds it back to Everitt. Surrounded by Tigers. Squeezes the kick to Davis.
Lenny Hayes coming from the ground with looks like a crook wrist. Go down to Doug Hawkins shortly.
Pickett's got it meantime. About 55 metres out. Clapp has pushed up the ground. Begley just on the ground, running down towards the 50. Clapp bumped off the kick though. Chaffey did pretty well, affected the kick. High ball, off hands. Gaspar is claimed by two Saints. Managed to get a boot on the ball. It spills back to Begley. I mentioned him. He's run hard into the contest. Down he goes. That ball under Bourke. It's not coming out. It's holding the ball, says the umpire.
That was hot.
Gee, that was hot.
It may be hot, but they may have a problem with the umpires, the Tigers, but they've got a bigger problem with themselves. How Chaffey elected to go for a bump on Justin Platt when it should have been a smother is beyond me, and I'm sure we'll get another look at that. But they're just making poor decisions at the moment, and the Saints are throwing everything they've got at them. Let's have a look at this. He's within goal-kicking ability distance, and Chaffey comes in and tries to bump him. Had to be a smother.
There's Hamill. 4 goals now for the Saints.
Well, I think you're pretty right there, Gerard. It was an interesting decision. Often 50-50, isn't it, when you're coming in across that sort of an angle on your opponent, but Platt probably shouldn't have got that kick away. We'll look at the injury to Lenny Hayes, coming in from behind Bowden there, gets an arm in. His left arm is the one that's injured.
Jeez, that's pretty simple.
Shoulder.
Yeah.
Rather interesting, that one.
What a start by the Saints. They lead by 25 points. Everitt pushes it down, forced forward by Beetham. Over the ball is Vardy, crashing in his Begley, works it forward. King goes again, diving in his Voss. They've really got the appetite for the contest at the moment, the Saints.
Yeah, boys, Gerard, as you mentioned before about Lenny Hayes, we saw in that replay, it looked like a shoulder.
Yep.
As he was coming from the ground, he was carrying his left wrist, but he's gone straight up the race. Doesn't look too good for Lenny Hayes at this stage.
Margin 25 points. Everitt thumps it down. Hand pass comes from Gale. A hurried kick from Callaghan. The two Dockers combining there. It's out of bounds on the full. And Dougie, we saw this yesterday. Identical start to what the Dockers got. Tigers hope they're as good as Essendon to come back and win easily as the ball is worked by Tawney up towards the wing. Loose at the back. Bourke's got it. Platt's got him. Now Peckett's got him. The ball comes across towards Knights. Dragged off it. Peckett does well. Fends away one opponent. Got it to Thompson. Thompson gets it across to Elliott. Takes a while.
Oops.
Kicks it towards the wing. That wasn't a good kick. Tawney goes back.
They've just had none of the football, the Tigers. Currently possession rate is 53 to 28.
Hudson over the top. Crumbing is Hamill. Goes back to Hudson. Hudson surrounded by Tigers. Gets it out of the circle. It's taken by Platt. Swings it wide. Gale tracking it out there. With him is Kellaway. Kellaway fell over. Gale with Bowden to Bourke. Dragged down. Kicks in the wrong direction. But good enough. It bounces out of bounds.
Gee, that was very good play by Gale there. He had 4 Tigers about to pounce. Most of his teammates were well off the ball.
Yeah, just have a look at this, Fish. The disposal here.
Well, it's hot, isn't it? That is
very loose interpretation of the handball.
The battle goes on. The Saints really going in strongly, taking it to the Tigers. Voss on the ground. Cameron gets a hand pass away, trying to spin out of trouble as Bowden gets it across to King. King's been busy, goes down towards half forward. Juggled attempt there by Bourke, not good enough, and the ball spills out of bounds.
Gerard spoke before the game about players needing to stand up for the Saints and cover the losses. So far, you'd have to be impressed with Justin Platt's game. Composure in the back half's been very good to this point.
Fish, what about its centre half back, Fish? Tim Allen's got the big job on Brad Ottens. How do you see that one?
Well, so far Timmy's got the points, but Ottens only just gone to half forward now.
Platt's on fire.
He is.
Kick came from Campbell. Platt took the mark, swings it out wide. Beetham's got it.
This is one of the blokes, Doug. Caden Beethan, he's a very talented player. Just got to put a few more quarters together.
From right half back, he drives it up towards half forward. Clears 2 players down there. Voss gets a hand pass away. Elliott stops virtually. Hand passes towards a teammate there in Davis. He's robbed of the footy. Knights comes away, but it's coming back, I think, to Elliott. Not sure.
They almost paid for the hesitation there, Dennis, didn't they? But they're lucky to get a free kick out of that.
The man who hesitated actually was far from lost, Elliott. He got the free and now he's found Hall. So Barry Hall, about 25 metres out, 45-degree angle. And this to really stretch the lead.
To Gerard, the Tigers better start applying a little bit more pressure to see Barry Hall take an easy chest mark through midfield.
And you reckon the Scribes won't be having a field day with Clinton Casey, their president, who evidently opened up discussions regarding Danny Frawley's future during the week. Most of the Scribes suggesting that why take the focus off what's happening at the moment with discussions for a coach who is already tied up for another 18 months.
You'd be drawing a long bow, wouldn't you?
Well, they had some experience with that a couple of years ago when they signed Jeff Geeshan up for a long-term contract, and I think they said about losing their next 6 or 7 games.
Chaffee in short. Bowden looks towards the outer side. Kellaway is breaking in that direction, looking to run off Kosicki. Takes it, goes short to Holland. He's down towards left half forward. Now where's Richardson? Long kick down towards Broderick, in fact. It's fisted away down there by Jones. In front, Knights steps around the tackler, gets it across to Broderick. He's deep in the pocket. He comes back to Knights, who snaps towards goal. It slides across the face. Hutchton goes up, gets a fist on it. It's out of bounds, so the Tigers still scoreless.
Dennis, you asked the question, where's Richardson? And so far, just in a couple of early forays, he's just breaking a little bit too early. Maybe that's the consequence of a couple of weeks off the bye and the injury, but he needs to settle in.
Beethan,
She's
good pretty well, very strong. King thought he had him. Well, he did marginally, then lost him. Fended away.
Dropped a couple of weeks ago, played in the VFL, and if he can just maintain that sort of aggression at the contest, he's going to certainly accelerate his development.
Saints by 26 points. Boundary throw in just inside the attacking 50 for the Tigers. Hall hooks it down wide of the congestion, taken by Knights. Good tackle got him down. That was Baker. Chance for Richardson. Had it knocked away. It'll be a free kick, I think, to Campbell.
Well, if you're a Saints supporter, you wouldn't be able to learn about that one.
Yeah, no doubt about that one, Fish. I would play Ottens down a full forward this stage against Elliott.
Goes to the pocket. Bowden, well done by Everitt. Got back and knocked it away and didn't break the rules. Hooks it back towards the wing. Campbell in space again. The man who kicked it in initially goes short this time and spots Rogers.
Got Ottens by himself.
Matthew Rogers, 16 goals for the season. From 55 metres out, sets it up to the kickoff line. Big pack at the drop. Hit the ground, diving in there as Hall gets a hand pass out wide. Chaffee deep in the pocket, snaps. They still haven't scored.
Well, they're doing it the hard way. At the moment, it's not pretty footy. It's indirect, giving Saints time to get back there and create numbers, and most of their shots have just been under pressure. Credit to the Saints. I mean, you can't question their work rate with their football at the minute. It's just getting the results on the board.
Elliott goes in short. Hutchton.
Now the siren and points were given being in front at three-quarter time. Maybe a top 4 side, St Kilda.
There's a few like that. Hutchton out of defence, drives it towards midfield. Hall goes up, takes the mark.
Dockers may be pressing for a spot in the 8 turns.
Yes. They'll take those rules any day of the week. Hall goes in short, going back, getting very high too is Thompson. Baker, back to Hutchton, puts on the brakes. Kicks it across the ground directly, and the mark is taken by Begley. Quickly to his feet, kicks it up towards the wing. Thompson running hard, takes the scrambling mark.
Chaffee's been good for the Tigers, but a couple of times already players have just overcommitted themselves at a contest rather than corralling. They're not in the contest, hold their ground, hold player.
Vardy held his, took a strong mark. Centre half back, goal to play on, goes short. Bowden getting plenty of the footy. Coming up for his 6th possession.
Dennis, interestingly, St Kilda have been in their forward 59 times for 4 goals. Richmond 8 times for no score.
They've been forced deep to the pockets. Very short comes the kick. Cameron, next season, that wouldn't have counted. Cameron from inside the centre square goes down towards half forward. Knocked away by Peckett, roving the pack and picking it up. Running hard, Jones. Jones inside the centre square. Kosicki stopped it. Bowden won it. Well played. Got it to Hawkins across to Vardy. Little chip out wide. This is Chaffee. Moving for him is Bourke. The kick goes in that direction. Bourke's got it 60 metres from goal. Rogers deep to the pocket again. And he's taken the mark right on the boundary line.
Maxie Hutchins come off, has he, Hawk?
Sorry, that Fish. Sorry, Fish.
Maxie Hutchins come off and Ryan on, is that right?
That is correct, Fish. No doubt about that. And Paul Broderick playing his 250. Having a bit of a breather here on the bench for the Tigers.
This will take a very good kick. Matthew Rogers lining up on goal. Kicks from about 45. And finally, the Tigers on the board. 3 minutes from quarter time. Blitzing start by St Kilda.
You'd have to say no wind advantage, Fish.
You have to say that, Gerard.
Tiger supporters looking for anything at the moment.
Have to concede that one.
No, Gerard Fish, let me just say this, boys. No wind advantage for the Saints.
In fact, there was a very good letter in one of the dailies here on Saturday suggesting why toss the coin for matches here at Colonial, and thinking about it, it made some reasonable sense.
Pickett gives it away. Knights has taken the mark. Elliott collected him over the top, but I'm sure without intent there. Knights isn't happy, but just watching it develop. Elliott was trying to get to the footy and perhaps tried to, in fact, miss him coming over the top. But
I think you've been pretty generous on that one, Dennis. The dropping of the knee has been prevalent in footy for a few years, and why the tribunal didn't make a stand, or the umpiring department didn't make a stand last week with Josh Franco, is beyond me. It should have been put up, it should have been an example made of, but as usual we're going to have somebody get knocked out or have a broken cheekbone before something's done about it.
Well, Knights wasn't happy as he kicks from 40, trying to bend it back. It looks pretty good. That's the breakthrough goal.
Well, Knights is continuing on his way from last week. He was a good performer last week for the Tigers. Already he's got 8 possessions and a goal, so it's a fine start. And Gerard, I tend to agree with you on your assessment there of those indiscriminate dropping of the knees, and there's little things like this in football which really just need to be addressed in the best interest of the players in the game.
And the umpires are derelict in not putting them up.
Just over 2 minutes till quarter time. I think on reflection you're probably right there with Elliott. Up goes Ottens, clean possession. Goes after it again, taken front on by Begley. It spills to Campbell, away to Tivendale. So making a late move, the Tigers inside the 50. Holland's taken the mark. He'll kick from about 45.
Yeah, boys, Matthew Richardson having a bit of a spell at this stage on the bench. Young Kayne Pettifer coming on for his first run for the Tigers.
He's a good type too, this young Kayne Pettifer, one for the Tiger supporters to keep a close eye on, and football supporters in general. The way he's opened his career has been impressive. A pattern, Gerard. Centre clearances and goals so far. They seem to, Richmond have got the last couple.
Yep.
It's a long bow, I suppose, this early in the game, but they have an impact here at Colonial Stadium.
Well, it was an easy get, that one, and Tivendale just once again showing why he's so dangerous. Beautiful left foot disposal.
Amazingly, you find the key. That kick-off went to Knights, and suddenly, well, I was going to say they kicked 2 goals. He's hit the post, Ben Holland.
Did that ball go end over end or sideways?
It wasn't a perfect spin.
It's probably one area of his game that he's worked very hard on. Holland hasn't quite come up to the extent he'd hoped for, but it has improved.
Here's Pickett.
I think Melbourne Light will be just looking for the siren at the moment.
Went for distance. Camped in front of the pack, a chance for Campbell. Tawney slips it away to Tivendale. 1:15 remaining in the term. The high ball comes in. Ryan with a bit of judgment goes back, took the mark. Pickett, unkind bounce, interesting hand pass. Bourke tried to give it out to Rogers. Knights over the ball now. Chaffee the snap. Trying to bend it back, but it's way offline. It's out of bounds on the full.
Des Ryan would be sighing with relief.
He would be, wouldn't he? A bit hasty there. Under pressure, he still had body contact from his opponent, so a little bit ambitious.
Getting the Ryans confused. It's Damien Ryan, of course. Des Ryan used to play for the Tigers sometime during the 90s.
Duncan Blight there, veteran of 5 grand finals. He's seen it all before. Fraser Gerrick.
Oh, how far has Fraser run? 40 metres he's run.
Drives it to the outer side. I don't think the umpire was paying strict attention. The mark's being taken by Ottens.
I'll grant you 30.
Off his step comes to Campbell. Campbell alongside the centre circle. 40 seconds remaining in the term. Bowden had it knocked away by Gale. Gale up towards the wing, claimed by Bowden. Bowden goes again, tries to hand pass back towards the middle. This is Baker. Gets past Bourke. Hand passes to Pickett. Pickett goes across the ground. Beetham takes the mark.
The official word is he's taken 18 paces, Fraser Gerrick, and at 1.5 metres of pace, I reckon he's just gone over by about 30 metres.
He looks exhausted. Now what's happened? The umpire insisting the ball come back. Fraser's going to take it again, does
maybe that umpire Jerbish is selling some of your real estate.
Oh, I tell you what, I wish I was buying it from him, because if that's 15 metres, he's giving 2-for-1 deals.
There'll be chaos next year with that mark. King gets a hand pass away. Campbell, King. About 10 metres in from the boundary line. There's the siren for quarter time, and the Saints would be very happy, certainly with the first 20 minutes of that quarter. The last few, so the Tigers get back on track. Holland hit the post after the miscue from Peckett. Gave Knights an easy goal going back. 4-2 to 1-2 at quarter time. Hamill, Callaghan, Voss and Hall have got the goals. The bad news for the Saints, Lenny Hayes off the ground with what appeared to be a shoulder injury. So quarter time, and the margin is 16 points, or rather 18 points. 4-2-1-2. Justin Plapp outstanding in the opening term with 7 possessions. He took 3 marks. Their attack on the ball quite outstanding, the Saints. Can they go on? Because their season, as we indicated, has been punctuated by good quarters here and there. Rarely 4 together on the one day. So Kilda on top.
Knights has gone forward, Dennis.
Hawkins and Everitt renew their battle, fell at their feet. Everett's got it, claimed by Hawkins. Hand passes over his head, does Everitt. Wide, Kazitsky feeds it back. Plapp's got it again. Hooks it in short, and the mark is taken by Thompson, 10 metres in from the boundary line. Thompson playing his 100th game. Everitt offers a lead. Off fingertips, Hamill lurking behind. 45 metres out, beautiful pass. Paul's got it 15 metres out, and the second term likely to start as the first did.
I was about to call have a shot, Gerard. I don't know about you, but
it was certainly on. He was running pretty well directly at the goals, but he was would have been a good kick, and he had Barry Hall with the break. Smart choice in the end from Aaron Hamill, who's had a particularly good start to the game and combined well with the man on screen.
Barry Hall going at his second. Should kick it. Misses. The sorts of things that bring struggling teams down happen like that.
Well, I was going to say, Dennis, you're 100% right. That can often be a team deflator, and as we have another look at it, good shot, camera angle here, that just really shouldn't happen. And Barry be disappointed. Let's hope it doesn't take the edge off the Saints.
Cameron goes out very wide. Gaspar is there, knocks it away down to Chaffee, feeds it back. Campbell prods it across to Tivendale. Tivendale to midfield. Bowden was up. Gale did well, got it back looking for Hall. Bowden beat about 3 of them. Hand passes out wide. Well played by Joel Bowden. Picked up by Tawney. Hand passes to Tivendale. Tivendale goes short. Bowden running hard. Got across from the middle. Looks back to the middle. Now goes down inside the 50. Drifting back is Richardson.
Gee, that was a good mark. Just great body work. Got rid of his player with his left arm. And he has pulled in a particularly good mark. Pretty crowded down there though, Fish. They've started with 6 men in the forward line, which is most unusual in this day and age.
Well, you're quite right. They tracked square though through the midfield, which held it up a bit. Gave the Saints players time to get back. As Richard comes in to have a shot, it was a great mark. Could be a great goal.
So Hall missed at one end. Richardson gets the goal at the other.
And that's what hurts. That's what hurts. It's a 2-goal turnaround really for the Saints there. Barry Hall missing a sitter. And as we see the ball coming forward here, you're quite right. Joel Bowden did the right thing there, and the right option was the long high ball forward, particularly when you got Matty Richardson down there. Kazitsky pulled up in fear of taking Gehrig out of the contest. A young player, a couple more years under his belt, he'll probably go for that. But a good strong grab from Richo.
10 possessions for Joel Bowden. Outstanding in that last piece of play. Beat 3 players in the middle, ran hard out towards the flank then, and was the man who kicked it in for Richardson to take the mark. So a few headaches for Malcolm Blight. He's seen this happen before. The margin reduced to 13 points now. Enthralling duel this one. Everitt wins the tap away this time. Campbell to his own advantage runs onto the ball, kicks it down towards half forward. Richardson storming out on the lead. Gehrig's got him. Richardson had to improvise, and that's a great result. He found the chalk.
Everett's dominating the centre bounce there. See that kick by Richardson. Very lucky, very fortunate, just landed on the line there. But sometimes these ground level players can't overcommit themselves at the centre bounce. Is well too past the ball.
Holland hand passes, looking for Richardson. Missed it completely. He's not holding the ball. Well, he wasn't tackled. Beetham gives it across to Plapp. And confused about that rule, Gerard. He goes in short, Everett's got it.
Why should you be different to the rest of us?
He's at half back.
Interesting the position of the umpire. It's twice just following this passage of play. He's actually been out of bounds.
Steve Hanley almost in the first row that time as Richardson found the chalk. An angling of the play, they get outside the play, and when the player's on the boundary line, they're back on the fence.
The players behind Everitt need to move forward to create something because there's not a lot down the ground. And here it goes.
Hawkins.
Almost telegraphed that one.
Yeah, it was across the ground.
Like that
Tawny just got there in time.
So let Chaffee off the hook though, and he's off and running. He'll end up with this Chaffee.
Bourke missed the mark. Leads back though. Clapp right there with him. Bourke sockers it to Chaffee. You were right. Chaffee pulls it back towards the pocket. Richardson up, missed it. Jones waiting behind. Breaks away. Close to the boundary line. Kicks it back where Bourke gets a fist on it and knocks it out of bounds.
Jeez, he hit that hard, didn't he? Aussie Jones, that ball was travelling. It was almost like a baseball bunt.
It was amazing.
When David Bourke put his fist on it. Have a look at this one fly off the boot. Bang and crash.
Reminds me of Gary Foles many moons ago. Gerard could kick him those grass cutters like that.
Here's Knights finding some space. Kicks it back inside the 50. Gehrig did pretty well. Held on to. Won the ball on the ground in any case. Sweeping hand pass out wide. Hudgston's got it. Right half back. Kicks it up towards the wing. In front there was Hamill. Loose ball at the back. Tivendale. Tigers with the numbers. Tivendale can't get it out. Came out slowly. Tawny in trouble. Likewise the hand pass was slow. Bowden very good. Got it back to Knights to Tivendale. Tivendale a probing kick. Intended I think for Hall down there. Juggled attempt to the mark. Not high. Yes it is.
And it all came back to Bowden taking the inside option. Rather than poking it out to the bloke he could see in his eyesight, which was Campbell, he hooked it back. I think Knights finished up with a footy. And then Knights laid it off. This was a big play. 1 mark, 2 marks, and he continues to impress, does Hall.
That matchup's not going to work, is it? Hall with Pickett, or Pickett on Hall. It's certainly a size problem there.
Certainly.
She's having a run-up.
Certainly for marking. Well, it's not a slow run-up either. He's exhausted as he gets to the man on the mark, but he's kicked the goal. Ray Hall.
Remind me of the young Fish going back years ago. Fish, that was one of your run-ups.
Well, there's a bit of. I used to put a bit of space between myself and the man on the mark, but not that much. And mine was more of a steady stroll in, and Gerard was right on the money here with this decision. Matty Knights takes possession, feeds it inside, and Tivendale is lethal. And Ray Hall taking full advantage of a mismatch there of size and shape.
In the history of the game, Dennis, have you ever seen a man take a bounce in his approach to a set shot at goal? Ray Hall almost was forced to.
That would confuse you, wouldn't it? Kozetzky intercepted by Chaffee, gets it across to Campbell. Campbell drives it out of the middle towards half forward. It's all the Tigers at the moment. Knocked down to Bowden, having a very good game. Bacon, goal square, bounces through. Well done, Richardson.
Well, this is the time. Yes, well done, Richardson. This is the time for the Saints to shut shop for a few minutes, Gerard, I'd suggest. Really close down, play accountable football. Of course, the consequences of Barry Hall's miss earlier is such that Richmond have responded with 3 quick goals, and that is fantastic football there by Bowden. But you would want, as coach, I'd imagine, the Saints now to man up, shoulder to shoulder, shut the shop for a few minutes.
It was 4-2-0, so the Tigers 4-2 to a behind. Voss gets a hand pass away, taken by Everitt. Looping hand pass out wide. Kozetzky set a task, the big man, couldn't control the footy. King slides in with courage, tries to fit it back to Campbell. Campbell quick hands a throw. 2 quick, says the umpire, who was right there, John Harvey, only 5 metres from the action, and had a very good view of it.
Well, they have responded. They have gone man-to-man, the Saints, and a timely decision to make. They need just to close this game down for a couple of minutes. Regain a bit of ascendancy because the Tigers have started to assert themselves through the middle.
Thompson back to Jones, 65 metres out, sets it up. They'll contest about 20 metres out. Hamill the flyer. Voss falling to the ground. He's been good. Got the hand pass away. The snapshot is pulled back. Begley. Touch right on the line, was it? Yes.
Just taking a look at this run-up, Fish, this is one of the longest run-ups that any man has ever taken in league football for a goal.
Now, you would be terrified if you were standing on the mark, wouldn't you? What's he going to do? He's coming at me and I'm stationary. He'll go right over the top, like the road runner and the coyote.
It's an interesting one because, I mean, you can lose control of the ball hand or foot as well. I mean, it's,
I thought Dennis's issue was more important. He could have struggled from fatigue there.
Hawkins has marked the kick from Gaspar, so they've worked it in well. Hawkins to the middle now. Andrew Kellaway inside the centre square can come back to the wing. Hawkins has got it. Nobody in front of him. He can run to the 50. Now he's a long kick, needs to settle. Well, he takes on Hall. 40 metres out. Hawkins did the hard work. Shocking kick behind.
I'll tell you what, Ray Hall's goalkicking training will have to be monitored so he doesn't overtrain, if that's the case. But the Tigers are peppering at the minute, and the Saints really just need to answer this challenge.
Well, I reckon Bowden and Campbell have together just lifted them through the middle of the ground. Their backline has also taken control of their one-on-ones.
Gale up towards the wing. Everitt robbed of it by Hawkins. A good contest there. Spills to Hamill, to Baker. Running down towards half-forward Baker. Second bounce. He's on the 50. Takes on Gaspar. Pulls it back. Intelligent kick. Beetham lost it completely in flight. Chance down there for Tawney. Did he have the footy? The umpire said he must have. Beetham grabs it and kicks it out of bounds on the full. Eminently forgettable football, all of that.
Yeah, bad minute there for Kayne Beetham.
Boys, Barry Hall off the ground having a bit of a spell, and Damien Ryan back on.
A wrong ball, I thought for a moment. There goes the kick from Tawney to Gaspar.
St Kilda runner out in the ground. Doug, follow him. He may have a message for Kayne Beetham.
This kick intended, I think, for Knights, won't get there. Instead, Chaffee takes the mark on the wing, looks back towards the middle. Zilla's pushed up and he's taken the mark against his old team. Played every game for the Saints last season. Little chip pass into space. Tivendale. Everitt bearing down. Everitt working hard, working double time, the big man.
Trouble here for the Saints with the ball in Tivendale's hands just outside 50.
He's a wonderful kick.
Oh.
Well, having said that, that's a shocker. Back goes Peckett. It's amazing how my voice carries. Peckett's got the ball in the back pocket. Goes short. Here's Fraser Gehrig still in his defensive 50. 4-4 St Kilda, 4-3 Tigers. Best and fairest last season. Thompson playing his 100th game, twice in all Australian. Spears the pass in. I guess that's why. Voss has got it now on the wing. Goes down towards half forward. Begley going back. That's a good grab.
Good player, Begley.
His pants pulled down here, boys. Looks like Kayne Beetham. Yeah, you're right, Gerard. He's been taken from the ground. A bit of a chat to Malcolm Blight.
Well, he had an opportunity there and he just didn't go hard enough for the ball. He was in front of everybody. And it's just one of these learning experiences that we've all had to go through. He'll have to live with that one and make sure he gets the next one.
Good Begley, beautiful kick from 50.
Well, that's a settler, isn't it? And I was just a bit, a bit concerned. Begley's backed himself in there. The man on the mark was 50. He had to kick it from 55 out, and it sailed through. So that's something I've learnt new about James Begley's ability from that range. You see there, that's a good mark and a good kick. 52, 53 metres out, and it's cleared by at least 2 or 3 metres again. So just what the Saints needed, that one.
Danny Frawley working the phones. Side down by 7 points. Not a good bounce. Everitt loads up, bumps it down towards centre half forward. That's worth a kick. It runs inside the 50. Cameron turned around too. As a result, had trouble. Gale tries to fit it across to Voss. He went to ground, knocks it goalward, sliding in down there a Tiger defender. Callaghan though throws it on the boot, bounces towards the goal line. Look at interesting bounce a metre out. Kellaway able to take it across the line.
Good to see that big punch forward by Spider Everitt out of the middle. Good decision, just to really break up the flow of the play, but out of the middle.
Bad decision by the umpire not to recall the bounce.
Ball on the 50. Hand pass comes to Thompson. Brilliantly gathered, deserves a goal. He's kicked it on the run.
Well, Tomo has been sensational for the Saints over the past few weeks. He had a bit of a rough patch not so long ago, but he's bounced back in such sensational touch. And this ball to boot, very quick. Gerard was talking a bit earlier about getting your balance before you kick the goal, and Andrew Thompson's there. It was a great lesson to any kid watching.
He's had 5 possessions in this quarter, Fish.
Terrific.
Wonderful goal. Brett Knowles with that lightning fast hand pass. Thompson not breaking stride, getting the long goal.
They started the Tigers with Knights tagging Thompson. They pushed Knights forward and broke that. Thompson's actually had some impact, and now Knights is back on him.
Knowles kicking towards half forward. Ryan takes the mark about 55 metres out. So suddenly the Saints meeting the challenge. He goes looking for Hamill. Awkward half volley. Hamill with strength, got his arms clear. Callaghan is taken down. The ball up about 30 metres out from the Saints attacking goal. And haven't they responded well, St Kilda?
Well, you look at the way they've played in the first 40 minutes of this match, and it's just difficult to comprehend how they could be down at the bottom end of the ladder with just so few wins.
Particularly some of their results early in the season when they had some real stars going around for them. They're missing a few now. Tawney, close range, it ricochets off his teammate Broderick, gets it to Rogers, who takes off. He's had a bounce, goes through the centre, kicks down towards half forward, intended for the man on the lead down there. That was Holland, spilled off his chest. Geary couldn't control it. Holland's got it, spots Richardson. Richardson runs back, lobs it over the top in the goal square. Campbell turns round, kicks the goal.
Well, Campbell has just changed with Knights, I suspect, and he'd be pretty pleased just to get a nice easy one like that. Richo took the gamble here. You see him, your mate is, so there he is, just at the back of the pack, and rather than go and chase Geary, he actually decides he'll just float forward. Well, this time he got lucky, and so did the Tigers. The little tackle, in fact, the tackle by the Tigers to dispose Fraser Geary was all important and was the reason they get a goal.
41 plays 33.
Oh, lovely.
Everitt just judged his leap perfectly, got it down to Thompson. Spider grabs hold of Broderick, goes again to Everitt. The ball in there somewhere, slapped out, taken by Chappie, feeds it back. Barty's got it now, found some space where there was none. Comes out wide, 2-on-1. Good work by Plapp, going to Bowden, but the numbers prevail. This is Pettifer from 75 metres out, sets it up inside the 50. Elliott got fingertips to it, it ricocheted to Knowles. Back to Elliott, kicks it up towards the wing. Knights in the road though. It'll be coming back pretty quickly. Knights unloads, it's a very high kick. Elliott camped underneath it. Holland came from the side. Pettifer to Crumb, tries to run onto it. Callaghan put the body in, and Pettifer going nowhere. Ball up about 25 metres out from the Tigers attacking goal.
I would have ventured to say 5 minutes ago the game was in the balance for the Saints, but they found another gear, and so has the game. And it's fairly entertaining football at the moment. A lot of pressure around the hard ball contestants.
Everitt got the backhander to it. Tivendale snaps. Good looking effort, but Tivendale just missed.
I just reckon Gerard now maybe could be time for Stephen Milne. I mean, they've been struggling a bit down at ground level in their forward line, the Saints. I'd bring him on.
Looks like Kazitsky is coming off at the moment.
Yep. He'd be shaping it a bit too, I'd reckon, Doug.
I think he would be, Fish. He's been in pretty good touch the last couple of weeks.
I think that's champing, not shaping.
That'll do.
That'll do. Peckett and Plapp combining, and now it's with Gale.
I reckon Doug's, he's right though. Stephen Milne to get him on, and game's broken apart a little bit.
Good idea. Hall, interesting kick this one, carries the pack. Begley slipping in behind, dragged down just as well. Richardson a long way back to the tackling. Gaspar had the footy, lost it. Hamill's in there, whistle, ball up 35 metres from the attacking goal for the Saints.
Doug, Leon Cameron just can't get near the footy. Is he being just taken away from the ball?
No, not really, Gerard. He's still playing that role on the half-back flank. Just the boys ain't been winning the ball in their back line too clearly at this stage.
Oh, Hamill was taken high by a teammate. That was interesting. There was a reckless arm in there, but I think it was Elliott who took him over the shoulder. And I thought for a moment the umpire was going to pay that. That was friendly fire. So here's a bounce. Well, why do we have three umpires? We saw the ruckmen just grab each other. That was a characteristic of last night's game. Cameron got it out, but only as far as the Saints again. Thompson's kick is wide of the mark. So that time Knowles and Thompson unable to combine. Tawney. Bowden playing his heart out for the Tigers. Spots Knights. What a wonderful kick. Knights in midfield. Chappie is running hard and wide. Chappie, he's got it now. Pulls it back towards the middle. Intended for Richardson. Spilt the mark. Gehrig did pretty well. Put some pressure on. Baker ran into a dead end. It's gone out of there. Diving in his haul. Gehrig did well on his knees. Taken front on by Tivendale was Elliott. Another bounce.
Gehrig is very good as a defender on the lead, and particularly against a guy like Matthew Richardson, who is very, very quick. Or is more susceptible possibly against a guy like Richo Gerard, maybe in the high ball forward. So see how that one pans out as the afternoon progresses.
Hall was up very early. Was he taken high picket? Yes, he was, and he'll get the free kick at centre half back. Feisty customer. 6-5-5-4. St Kilda in front. Just under 7 minutes out from half time. This is Jones, who started the game very well, up towards the wing, kicking towards half foot. Beautiful kick. How precise was that? Spotted Hall on the move, ghosting in behind the defender. Pops it in short. Great courage. Kellaway going back. Crunch. Kellaway and Ryan hit the deck. Callaghan looking to keep it in. Stepping it across the line is Zilla. The details of the AFL can be found right there. That's the website address. i7sport.com.au. Check it out in the next 24 hours.
Stephen Zilla's doing a pretty fair job on Callaghan as the wrestle is applied. Which way is it going to be paid?
Last night, actually, it was just a joke, the Collingwood Adelaide game. McKee and Clark just locking up all the time. That was the first movement, was just to grab hold of each other and let it eventuate from there, and no whistles. Very much like that one.
Arguably, you can't have a whistle if they're both locking up unless you can find the instigator.
You've got to do something. Peckett behind. Knowles.
Dougie's got his wish.
Towards half forward. Well played by Hamill. Well tackled there by Tawney. Got him down initially, and Broderick got him again.
Baker off for Milne, Doug.
Yeah, very happy about that one, Gerard. Just a bit of a bit of spark around that forward line, particularly if Stephen Zilla picks up Milne. He may look a bit too sharp from that area.
Rogers is going to pick him up. Saints faithful giving him a clap as he comes onto the ground.
Umpires doing a lot of bouncing in this term. Bowden tried to move it forward, missed it. Thompson, he's been good. Got it to Gale, quickly away to Hamill. Hamill 55 metres out, pushed as he kicked. Wide of the mark, it bounces through for a behind.
Well, Aaron Hamill's been, we mentioned him earlier in the telecast, he's been a handy, very good acquisition now, it's turned out to be for the Saints. He's become a real leader in the forward half, but his kicking still is questionable, unfortunately.
Big space here for Leonard Cameron. He could easily just kick it to himself and take another 10 or 15 metres on cue.
Runs to the pocket, well done. Whoops, miscues though. Hall kept it in front, well played. Takes on the tackler. He's dragged down. Hall is paralysed for holding the ball. Well done by Rogers. Really no option. Hall was bearing down, but still not easy to do. Apply this sort of tackle. Just got him. That was good enough.
Courageous pickup by Barry too. Head over it.
Gaspar in midfield. Runners wide, ignored, sets it up. Pettifer in best position. That was a good kick from Gaspar. Not noted for his kicking, but very precise. And Pettifer can go back and take a shot at goal from 45 metres out.
I think one of the things that's been impressive about the Tigers has been their discipline to go down the middle. They have found lots of free space there, and they just continually look down the centre for the long option. Even that little handball from Matthew Knights that set up a goal earlier in the quarter just showed that Danny Frawley has just instructed them and hammered home the fact that he doesn't want cheap kicks going sideways, he wants them down the middle.
Kayne Pettifer, 45 metres out.
Good kick.
Kick is good.
Shortest way home, Fish, isn't it? Down the guts, as they say.
No, I was just about to concur with you, Gerard, and it's a sort of football that just may be more effective come September if the Tigers can get there. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it's a brand of football they need to play if they are going to ever consider themselves genuine contenders in this competition. So it's really encouraging, and they'll get the results.
Well, if we talk about September, this is the sort of game the Tigers have got to win. Malcolm Blight very animated in the coach's box there. Good bounce back in the middle. Hawkins goes up. He and Everitt both missed the ball. It fell at their feet. Kazetsky, in fact, it was who was up with him that time, Hawkins. Hawkins slow to get up to. Meanwhile, the hand pass from Bowden to Broderick, runs to the 50, measures the kick, it wobbles. Begley again. Bourke.
Well, there's a big call from Danny Foley. He just took Matthew Richardson off. I think they're trying to protect his hamstrings and give him intermittent work on the ground. But he was replaced by David Bourke, who got up a mile. Making a habit of it, isn't he?
Well, he doesn't mind going for them, and it's great, spectacular football to watch.
So a goal here, and the Tigers will be in front. Should be a formality. Comes in. And don't tell me. Do not tell me he's missed that. Now the umpire is checking with the goal umpire.
Well, my money's on a miss here, Dennis. He's laid back on it.
Interesting discussion. What could this be about? Behind.
Yeah, right decision. Definitely missed, boys.
Now, did the goal umpire know it missed? I think the central umpire, I'm just guessing here, I can't imagine what that conversation was about unless the goal umpire had no idea where the footy went. Clapp's got it now. Umpire Harvey insisting the man move a metre back on the mark. Well, that was very interesting. Could you imagine what they were talking about?
Well, I think you're right. I think the goal umpire was going to come in and signal a goal, and John Harvey, to his credit, was onto it, and he prevented the umpire from booking a one-way trip to Bendigo for next week.
Holland, a very good mark on the outer side. Pettifer's got it now. This game's got everything. Pettifer kicks inside the 50.
That's a free kick.
Taken out of the contest. A chance to make amends, so he's got a chance for the old 7-point play. Love it.
The oldest one in the book. 7-point play. This is what his opponent was trying to do here, and I've got a feeling there's another mismatch on at the back there.
Yeah, it's Aussie Jones.
It's Aussie Jones. Just trying to cut his run to the ball. I think David Bourke has drawn it quite convincingly there, actually.
And I can tell you, Fish, the goal umpire is a picture of concentration. He is not going to get this one wrong.
Hey, Gerard and
There's
Fish,
the mark.
I'll give you 3-1, boys. He misses this one again.
But the goal umpire's adjusted his hat.
Come on, umpire. This is a big moment for you.
And there is no sun.
Only Ray Hall goes back further than this.
He's onto this.
Important kick. Bourke, much more difficult kick. Runs in using the Hall method and kicks the goal.
Oh, it's brilliant goal umpiring. I'll tell you what, Aussie Jones must have given David Bourke a nice bit of stick, because he got a fair bit back with a bit of interest, and I reckon if you take the option to mouth off, here's the original miss. That is defying the laws of physics, but he somehow achieved the unachievable.
Vindication is a wonderful thing, isn't it? 7-5 to 6-6. Approaching half-time. Tigers in front. Kazetsky knocked it down to his opposite number. Hawkins, who boots towards half-forward. Holland feeds it to Knights. Across it comes. The hand pass, interesting, from Tivendale. Bounced obligingly for Pettifer. He couldn't control it, though, going nowhere. Tied up on the 50.
Well done, Aussie. Yeah, well done, Aussie. He's just got his hand and prevented the disposal there. And it's a very important contest, this one, just on 50 with only moments remaining.
That was a good stop, considering his ears are still ringing. Peckett tries to get through the pack, hacked out of midair by Campbell, floats to the pocket. Rogers he can run around. Rogers comes around, and what's he done? The goal umpire will tell us it's a goal.
Well,
there's a man under siege, that goal umpire.
As my eyes had deceived me, I thought Maxie Hudson was just held off by his opponent in this contest. Could have been given a free kick. I'm not sure if we'll be able to pick it up on screen. Just there.
Yeah, a little bit of a scrag.
A little bit of a scrag, but would have been a brave umpire.
He nearly did a hamstring getting across there, the goal umpire.
There it is.
Oh, it's worth a free kick.
I think so.
And Max thought so too. That's why he stopped.
And Amazing last few minutes. 8-5 to 6-6. Hawkins knocks it down, taken by Knights, feeds it back. Kellaway, that's Andrew, swings it out wide. Taken by Campbell, looks to the middle. Interesting kick coming from behind. Rogers collides with his teammate Pettifer. Pettifer took a very courageous mark. Rogers brushed him in midair.
4 players in that contest, Dennis. One had his eyes on the ball.
Interesting the differences just watching the various umpires have a crack at the bounces, Dennis. The last one was by Michael Avon. It was a pretty fair bounce. I reckon he's getting about an extra 6 or 7 feet on Stephen Hanley, who the last couple has had a tendency to push them way to the right to favour St Kilda.
Pettifer, long-range goal, his second, a beauty. Tigers alive.
Well, this, in the context of the game, this has been a critical 5 minutes of football. It could well just blow the Saints out of the water. This will really test, after the break, their mental aptitude. And, well, they just don't want Richmond to score another goal. If anything, they certainly need one themselves. As we see Pettifer going, this is a very good mark. Eyes on the ball all the way, and courage, and finish with great skill.
This is umpire Hanley, so let's see if he can find another 7 feet.
He just can't bounce.
No, he can't. Everitt thumps it down towards half forward. In front is Hamill, tracking it out towards the boundary. Tries to knock it to support, coming through as king. The siren should sound any moment now, though, so this battle stands for naught on the wing. Wonderful turn by Richmond. 8-goal quarter. They were 1-2 at quarter time. They came out steaming. St Kilda regained their composure midway through the term, but the Tigers have finished alight again, approaching half-time with some very unconventional football all round, we've got to say. Spectacular. There were some strange things happened out there. A couple of bad misses from Richmond, but in total, I think they'd be very happy with what they've achieved.
It should be, Dennis. It's a very impressive quarter of football for the Tigers. They kicked 9 of the last 11 goals. The Saints have got the job ahead of them here.
So the margin is 17 points. Richmond on top. It's 9-5 to St Kilda's 6-6. 8-goal second term by the Tigers has put them in this position after they trailed by 18 points at quarter time. Everitt and Ottens. Ottens taps it down, charging through as Thompson, dragged down quickly by Knowles inside the 50, and Hamill takes the mark about 35 metres out directly in front. This could be the fairy tale start. Just as they started the opening term, Barry Hall got them a goal. Should have done the same thing in the second quarter, missed from about 25 metres out. Hamill a chance here.
And Baker is on the ground and he's going very close with Matthew Knights.
Hamill has got 1 goal this afternoon. He struggled from about this range this season. That's a good kick. Great start for the Saints.
Yeah, excellent start there, Fish. It was straight out of the centre, and Hamill has just kicked a glorious goal. Just looking at the Knights-Baker situation, Baker is a real pest. He just gets in there and he gets in your face and he stops you running, and to try and counter that, Danny Frawley, I would think, just goes straight out and say, right, Knights, you go and pick up Thompson and basically get rid of Baker and any role that he can play. No point waiting to see if Knights can get a kick over 15 minutes. It's very difficult when someone's doing that.
Back in the centre, Ottens on the way down, taps it out wide. Beethan dragged down by Ottens, got a hand pass away. Chaffee over the top, Vardy. Here's a chance for Bowden, very good in the first half. That's interesting. Spins around, put down, got the kick away though, inside the 50. Elliott was up, falls behind, a chance for Richardson, paddling it across the 50, put down by Gearig, who should have shepherded. The kick comes out from Jones, trapped by Beetham. He's at half back with some time, backs off his man Rogers, upended as he kicks towards the middle. Everitt goes down as Ottens arrives a step late.
Spider's been pretty good today. Certainly his tap work out of the centre has been tremendous. He's taken his ruck work to another level.
Looked for Voss, cleared he and Cameron, runs free at the back, taken by Baker, got it to Hamill, to Thompson, being held without it, the umpire lets them play. Storming up the ground is Callaghan, taken across the line and driven hard by Zilla.
Gerard, they don't give the old KB free much, do they?
No,
they dispose and then grabbed. It's just doesn't seem to be there.
They just ignore it. I mean, the free kick's there every time, but they choose to ignore it. Not sure who empowers them to do that, but they do it.
Kellaway got it to King, who broke his leg in round 13 last season. Kicks it towards midfield. Pickett hacks it out of mid-air. This will be interesting. Howell at bounce. Truly. Gale tracks it on the outer side. Chappie tracks him. Gale thumps it towards the boundary line. Gets about 15 metres.
Just looking at Baker following Knights around. Interesting at the last centre bounce. The ball came towards Baker. He ignored the ball to shepherd Knights away from it. He's not interested in possessions himself. All he wants is Knights to keep away from the footy.
Kozetski over the top, did well, laid it down, intended for Thompson, who lays a good tackle, got King down. Tivendale hard against the boundary, puts it back towards the wing. Bowden couldn't control it, going in hard. Knowles close to the line, it's out.
You talk about Baker, Gerard, but in the context of the game, it's a pretty important job he's got. Shut down Knights, 15 touches in the first half. Matty looking very dangerous, had a goal. And, well, if you can stick to his task, the Snakes will only help the Saints cause.
Tigers by 11 points. Full rotation there on Everitt. Beetham gets away. Nice work. Kicks it down towards half forward. Nobody at home for St Kilda, though. Tawney swings it out very wide. Running into space is Kellaway. Now, the next link in the chain will be Richardson. Not the best kick in the world, but Richardson gets there. That was a slow kick, but at least it was out in front of him. Richardson from 65 metres to Chaffee, marking just inside the 50, looks towards the middle. Lovely kick. Speared it to Campbell, right on the 50. Campbell to space. Up comes Holland. Everitt, well, he was in two minds going back there, and he was rather compassionate.
He was a little, wasn't he, Spider? I think I've just deceived him in flight there, and Ben Holland's taken a couple of very good marks today. And it's a good lead, plenty of space out there on the fat side. And Campbell, when he got a player with that sort of skill, just outside 50, he's a good decision maker. And as soon as Holland presented himself, the ball's out in front, gave him every chance.
Coming off a long run too, going at his first goal of the afternoon, got 5 last time these sides met, round 20 last season. His 100th game, and he's got his first goal of the day.
I was going to be bold enough to suggest, Gerard, that the Tigers have and do miss Brendan Gale out of the side this week. And so it's all been more important that Holland stands up, because Hawkins will have to spend more time up in the middle of the ground. And it does cost them. It costs their balance a little bit. But this kid can play football, and when he's got a good run at it, he's very hard to beat. Very good pair of hands. And a good finish on that occasion.
So play restarts. Good bounce too. Everitt up high, trying to direct it down to Thompson. Gale falls on top of Bowden. And the umpire will do it again. This is our preferred bouncer, isn't it, Gerard?
Yes.
I was going to say the Saints are running some very aggressive midfield runs there. Patton's there to Spider. They're backing his men a bit today, which is good to see.
Another scramble at the base of the bounce. Emerging backwards, Callaghan kicked it into Bowden. It comes back towards Callaghan. Zilla dives on top of it. He's going nowhere. Campbell relieved him of the footy. Vardy got it across to Bowden, dragged down in front of King. King pushed off it by Pickett. Pickett picked his pocket. Try that. Kicks it down towards the 50. Callaghan's in front, close to the boundary line, taken on by Gaspar. Down goes Hall. Cameron got him, charging through his Gaspar, taken by Hamill. Got the hand pass away. Suddenly it's very hot. Pickett did well, kept his head in more ways than one. Smothered off the boot, though it came to Campbell. King gets it across to Gaspar, steps around Hamill. Poor kick towards midfield, coming up to meet it down there. Pettifer stepped around the oncoming Everitt. The hand pass untidy. Down goes Ottens, trapped it. Now he's got a problem. Could have been holding the ball. The umpire has decided it was a throw, and the free kick will go to Davis. Or was it Everitt? Davis inside the centre square. That was lively the last couple of minutes. The game on the line. Richmond 10-5, St Kilda 7-6. The Saints can't afford to concede another one. Here's Everitt.
Doug, I'm just watching Leon Cameron. He just appears to be cruising in defence there. His man's Brett Voss. I'm sure Voss is trying to get him away from the play, but he doesn't appear to be hungry for the footy at the moment.
Peter Everitt, normally a long kick. Well, that fixed him. It ricochets off the man on the mark. Ottens, Pettifer gets it away. Bowden delays the hand pass. It comes wide with the run of it. Tivendale comes back nicely. This is Tawney. He's at right half back as the Tigers regroup. Tawney with some time goes to Tivendale, confronted, goes over the top to Chaffee. Chaffee needs a kick. He unloads inside the 50. Richardson running back with a flight of the ball, not required. Holland. Richardson thought about going to the contest, stayed out, and Holland a chance to kick his second goal in the space of 3 minutes.
I'll tell you what, Gerard, you're probably spot on about Leon Cameron. In the warm-up, he did leave the ground for some reason. Maybe he's not right, maybe a little bit crook.
I reckon he's crook because every time he gets a chance to just walk, he walks. Brett Voss there charged off after the ball. He was 100 metres away from his opponent, Leon Cameron, and he walked.
Ben Holland.
Whether he's injured or not is I guess, the only question.
Important kick, this one. Bending around, he slotted it, only just.
Well, that could signal, well, it's already signalled trouble for the Saints because they just haven't been able to respond to Richmond in this pattern of play, this quarter in particular. But the only answer here is we see the ball coming forward. Holland there, Elliott's not really strong enough for Holland in a wrestle. So we want to try and avoid that at all costs, but this game is in danger now of blowing out if Richmond get the next couple.
A real sense of deja vu for Saints fans. They've seen it all before. Everitt thumps it out wide with other ideas. Thompson dragged down. Beetham stood up in his tackle, gets it away to Hamill. Hamill from 75 metres out. What a kick! If that was intended, that was sensational, and I think it was. Paul's taken it about 25 metres out directly in front.
Maybe I should say things like the Saints having trouble answering the Tigers more often because, what do you know, and that's a fantastic kick on the left.
He's had a good game, Aaron Hamill. Very good game.
Paul missed an easy one at the other end. Hits the post this time. He's got one goal. He kicked it in the opening minute of the match, but there's something that's just a little unconvincing about him kicking a goal at the moment.
And the two last shots he's had, Gerard, in the context of the game, very important ones.
It was an interesting kick from Cameron. He didn't look good on the kick. On the outer side, Zilla got it from Chaffee. Almost the mark out there to Hawkins. Falls at their feet, picked up by Hall to Everitt. Back come the Saints. Everitt towards half forward. Hamill was up, knocked it to his own advantage, found it on the ground, did well, got it to Peckett, to Space and Davis. Davis is 40 metres out. Sharp angle.
The other player for the Saints that just can't get near the footy, and he's playing in a forward pocket, so he's not going to get a lot of it, is Craig Callaghan. Stephen Zilla's taken him out of the play, but I just saw with Lenny Hayes getting injured, he may have got a bit of a chance up in the middle of the ground. They have elected to go man on man though with Thompson and Baker.
Davis, good looking kick, splits the middle.
Well, it's a good type, Davis. He's got a very good feel for the game of football, and well, his career is looking for a bit of a boost. And he's one of the players the Saints are looking forward to really develop rapidly. But here, this is Aaron Hamill. His work, I always pump it up. I'm just a big rap for the way he goes about his work in the forward 50, and that's a great finish from the young fella. He did what Barry Hall couldn't do a few moments ago. Saints back in business.
Talking about Callaghan, just 6 possessions today. His season's high 26, round 1 against the Bulldogs. Up goes Everitt, fights a draw with Hawkins that time. Wide of the pack, King didn't appear to have the football. Hurriedly down towards half forward by Zilla. Coming up to meet it there was Richardson. Gira goes after it. Bowden slipped a tackle, got it to Knights, to Tivendale. He could kick this from 50. Tivendale just pulls it too much.
Knights has gone to the half forward line. Baker's gone with him, and I think it was Clinton King who took his spot in the middle.
11-6 to 8-7. Just over 11 minutes till three-quarter time. Good crowd, a vocal crowd, plenty of atmosphere this afternoon. Lindsay Jones.
There's a big hole in the Richmond zone defence, and that is Matty Knights taking a key post.
Knowles now under pressure, just coughs it up. Chaffee couldn't believe his good fortune, goes towards the middle. I'm not sure about that option. Well, it turned out okay. Bowden able to wait on the ball getting there. Took a while, but he's marked directly in front, 25 metres out. Bad luck for Knowles.
Look, what I was about to say was, on the back line of the zone defence, there's Richardson, there's Ottens in the middle.
Campbell, the handball would have been handy.
Yeah. And Matty Knight's on the other side. You've got to have the presence of mind when your teammate's kicking in to pick the hole, just pick the weakness. And they went to the wrong side there, turnover on this occasion. And we see Joel Bowden with the ball in his hands. I dare say it's going to be a pretty costly one.
What a wonderful game, coming up for his 19th possession and his second goal. Kicks from 30 out, steers it through. That hurts the Saints.
Yeah, it was a big turnover, Fish. You pointed it out pretty correctly. You just got to make the right options here. Aussie Jones, I think it was a reasonable kick. In fact, it was more the fact that the target slipped, and we saw the result. Glorious style, great technique.
It's not about reinventing the wheel. Bad teams make bad decisions. Campbell tries to get it across to Tivendale, robbed of it by Peckett, taken down by Tivendale.
Sorry, Fish. I just thought too, Gerard, on that Brett Knowles situation, he did slip, you're right. I thought he could have just punched the ball onto a teammate who was over the top instead of trying to grab the ball on that occasion. The Saints running hard and aggressively for spite of it. On so many occasions, they've just overcommitted themselves to the contest and the ball's dropped behind them.
Bowden running hard for Tivendale. He's got it now, Bowden. He can run to the 50. He can kick his third goal. He can go inside the 50. He does. Well, that's a terrible kick. Given his skills, he misses to the near side. A number of times the kicks haven't travelled as they should. The spin has been anything but perfect today.
Must be the Doug Hawkins fog that is proving to be much of a concern here.
Cutting through that fog.
It's got foggy at Dennis, Fish and Gerard down there. What's going on down there?
Gee, well, that is a sign of diminishing confidence and obviously diminishing return. That was Aussie's worst kick in league footy, I reckon.
Check that ball for condensation, will you, Dougie?
No worries, Dennis.
Holland, just blow your whistle and say you want it. Kicks in towards the middle. Jones keen to make amends, taken down by Bourke. No love lost there. And the ball up about 40 metres out from the attacking goal for the Tigers, who lead 79 to 55.
Do you think, Gerard, the Saints make the necessary adjustments when they're playing footy, when they're under siege, under a bit of pressure? And I just feel like sometimes they're not well equipped enough maybe to make those necessary game plan alterations on the run.
Well, they've got a very damaged list at the moment.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which means they've got less options out in the ground. And you can only make the magical move if you've got the players capable of magic.
So ball up, still inside the attacking 50 for Richmond. Ottens, Everitt, it's been worth watching. Campbell slips the hand pass away. That's an interesting kick from King over the shoulder. Gale takes the mark, slow whistle, but he's got it. Comes across half back. Peckett has it now. 12-7, 8-7. Richmond on top. Peckett. Sweeping hand pass. Knowles. Gale runs on. He's inside the centre square. Kicks inside the 50, but sets it up to Gaspar. Over the head of Hall. Gaspar just dropping back. Always his.
How hard is it to kick to the favourite side of your teammate sometimes?
Geez, here they go. The Tigers have got three lined up. It's like a rugby league line.
Chaffee swings it out wide. King, not normally a great kick, juggles the mark, running it down towards the 50. Bowden outside him. I would have gone to Bowden. The hand pass is a shocker, but Bowden this time, can he make amends? Too easy. Runs around his Saint and slots it from 25.
I think there's a bit of a squeak and it's the floodgates just starting to loosen up.
Well, you're quite right, Gerard. There's a bit of a concern, or a big concern for the Saints now, because they're just getting caught on the turnover. They're pressing hard forward when they got possession, but the Richmond players out the back, Clinton King on this occasion, he had options, chose the right one late, was lucky to get away with it. And Bowden's a good finish. He's had a pretty good quarter, Joel, but a pretty good game in fact, Joel Bowden. So, well, the Saints will do something here.
Everitt up early. Ottens shared it with him. Knowles goes after it, improvising. Got boot to ball. Zilla close to the boundary line, feeds it back to King. King towards the middle, taken by Tawney. Tawney off his step, launches it long. Hawkins goes back. Hudson edged him out of the contest. Richardson close to the boundary line. Gerard has done well on him. Tivendale pulls it back across the body, floats it down towards the pocket, out of bounds on the full.
I guess you get some idea of Richmond's dominance since quarter time when you consider that the Saints led by 26 points at the 23-minute mark of the first quarter. Since then, the ball's been heading in just the one direction most of the time.
A memory like a steel trap. Here's Hamill, he swings it out wide. Mark is juggled by Davis. Kicks it inside the 50, setting it up for Hall. Gaspar and Hall, almost a clever one-handed to Hall, and he was holding on to Gaspar. No free kick. Gaspar, ambitious, tried to go through the pack. Cameron, you're right, he doesn't look right. He didn't want to put any weight on that left leg that time. He just fed it very quickly off half his step back towards the goal line to a player who was in trouble.
I think it's typical for the Saints, Gerard. It's just an observation on my behalf, but they just have trouble having any group of players staying up for 4 quarters. They're up and down like it's a seesaw form line for most of their team. I can't pick one player that's really stood up for these first 3 quarters.
Hamill, I reckon, will be the only one. And Spider, he's pushed hard just to find 2. But I think they're young blokes, Fish. You're right. They're giving us glimpses of what they can do. And that's why they'd be so frustrating. A bit like that kick.
Unbelievable. Hamill dropped it, was taken high. No free kick. Are you kidding?
Second chance for Campbell.
High kick. Callaghan and Campbell. Good defensive mark. Well, Hamill should have marked it, then should have got a free kick. But he comes away. There was no doubt there was a swinging arm over the shoulder on Hamill. Chaffee's got it towards the middle. Mark is taken by Kellaway, who wants to go. Swings it very wide. Bounces out towards the wing. Tawney, man on over the top.
First time I've seen Cameron pass the half-back line.
Goes in short, intended for Ottens. Cleared him. Running behind Knowles, untidy. Gerard goes back in the defensive 50. Not a good hand pass. Plapp under pressure, throws it on the boot and gets it across the line. If you want to know what's happened in the AFL today, check it out. 97sport.com.au.
I'll tell you what, Fish, the skill level of St Kilda under enormous pressure have let them down plenty of times over this last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's fair enough to say that, Doug. There's no doubt they've just, well, Richmond have been, the last few weeks have really been exerting pressure, and they've taken their game, as I said, prior to the game starting, another level in that area, and it's going to hold them in good stead over the course of the next month or two. And it's pretty tough mentally for the players to keep themselves up over a winter period, and the Tigers just look like they're intent on doing business at the business end of the season this year.
That was classical ruck play just moments ago. Holland a bit stiff, intended for Rogers. Coming through is Tivendale, looks up and pulls it too much behind.
So Callaghan may have been pushed into the middle of the ground. He's currently up on their half-back line. As a change is affected down there, Dougie, and your man is back on the ground.
Yeah, Gerard, Stephen Milne back on. He had about 5 minutes in the second quarter, and the ball come down once. I think he may have done something wrong to Malcolm Blight, I think.
He just sneaks on, doesn't he?
I was just going to say, he doesn't charge on, he just tries to come on and not be noticed. Should try covering himself with branches. As the ball comes up towards centre half back, it's taken by Baker. His camouflage, Milne, down in front of us.
Even some face paint might do the job.
Voss has got it now. He's calling for the ball. Out by himself. Voss spots him, but so did Zilla.
He couldn't recognise him, had that many branches on him.
There goes the kick from Hudson down towards half forward. Out comes Hall. Stops it, finds it. Brushes aside 2 would-be tacklers. Lays it off. Davis, 35 metres out, deserving of a goal. Well done, Barry Hall.
Yes, Dennis, well done, Barry Hall. It's great if you can't nail them yourself when you get the opportunities. It's still important to do all those little things that result in the 6 points being put on the board. A much more direct kick into the forward there. Good contest, 1 and 2, brought it forward. It's something Aaron Hamill does very well. But here's Barry, good turn inside out. Found the man open, and Davies has finished off. It is just what the doctor ordered, and the Saints remain in there just with the minorest of sniffs.
Well, they needed that one. 13-8 plays 9-8. Hacked out of mid-air by Rogers inside the 50. Going back was Plapp, who started so well. Kept his balance brilliantly there. Shrugs a tackler. Dragged down from behind. Affected the kick. They'll queue up the Tigers. Tivendale. What sort of a kick was that? Across the face of goal, out of bounds on the full, was it? Was it touched?
Aussie was a bit lucky there, I thought. He's taken Tivendale to the ground.
Well,
he's found a yard, Bourke.
Obviously not impressed by his effort. He's taken himself off. That is honesty in a football. Obviously he was coming off and he contested in the pocket, and then immediately after the ball was deemed out of bounds, dashed off. Interesting timing though. You would think players should be given the ability to understand, perhaps I should stay down there, do you think?
You often see it, and it's in the players' hands. I mean, they've got to make the right decision at the right time. You don't come off when the players in your area. But that's discipline, a capital D.
Almost robotic. Tigers have added a behind. Here's Thompson, got it from Gerard, drives it around the outer side. Going back with courage out there was the big man in Cameron. Well, not so big, but anyway, he went back with courage. Hall gets it across to Gaspar. Gaspar swings it wide. Pettifer, too worried about protecting himself, dropped the mark. Backing up is Zilla. Zilla goes down towards half forward, finds Ottens. Ottens forward of the wing. Spots Richardson on the lead. Gehrig has been terrific. There, step for step again. Takes it across the boundary line. Much maligned at the West Coast Eagles, but the longer this season has gone, the more appreciated he is by the St Kilda fans.
You don't have to ask Jason Dunstall the regard he holds Fraser Gerrigan as a full back, and he's proving it here at the Saints at the minute.
This boundary umpire is the master of the low trajectory throw-in. The hand pass came from Broderick to Knights. Now Tawney from 50. Lines up. Hasn't got the distance. Going back Hudson.
Just talking about umpires, Dennis. Stephen Hanley's the only central umpire that hasn't had a crack in the middle this quarter. We will follow his progress with interest in the last.
Baker gets it his second time, kicks towards half forward. Kozetzky was up, couldn't hang on. Taken by Ryan, kicks down towards the pocket. Hall and Gaspar. Gaspar played it very well. That was interesting. The ball was bouncing around. Hall with venom took Gaspar down, knocked across the boundary line by Ryan.
Looks like Ben Holland, boys, here may have a bit of a quad problem, left quad here. I'll have to check it in a minute. He's just come off the ground, as Matty Richardson off the ground as well, boys.
Well, that'll be interesting in a size and shape issue for the Saints now, with a couple of the Richmond tools off the ground.
Broderick goes down, so too does Andrew Kellaway, and a ball up.
He's stretching that left quad. He's got a problem. Unless it was a corker, you suspect he won't come back on. I doubt whether Danny Foley anticipated when he just took Richo off that he'd lose another one of their tall players directly, so the response will be interesting. Maybe Hall will come back onto the ground.
Well, Hall is out there rucking at the moment with Everitt. Picked up by Kozetzky, who's had a quiet day. Goes back to Thompson to Callaghan. Callaghan's been quiet as well. From 55, sets it very high. Gaspar battles off the ball with Hall. In the meantime, Chaffee in short, 5 metres ahead of that warring pair. Took the mark uncontested. Off his step. Pops it across to Broderick. Broderick over the top, close to the boundary line. This is Hall. Metres in the clear, and the big man takes off. Around the outer side he goes, taking the ball up towards the wing. Raking left-footed towards half forward. Knights within Baker. Tapped down by Jones. Beetham falling to the ground. It was hot for Elliott. Couldn't control it. Goes after it again. Surrounded. Tries to give it across to Baker. He's got problems. Wrestled down by Knights. Whistle from umpire Hanley, who decides to bounce. This is the moment.
Well, the Saints just hesitation and a little bit of mishandling there, and the Tigers are ready to pounce.
It's a low one. Everett knocks it down. Tivendale onto the loose ball.
He's had some chances,
hasn't he?
Quarter, in fact, in this game, Tivendale. He could have kicked 4 or 5 goals this match.
That's his 9th possession this quarter. He's kicked it up another notch.
So what would you say, Gerard? Stephen Hanley still not ready for the centre circle yet?
I wouldn't think so, Dennis.
Hudson drives.
His days in the centre circle are limited.
Mills, good hand pass, gets it across to support. Zilla's long kick down towards the kickoff line, stretching. Hudson backs to the wall stuff for the Saints. Jones in short. Callaghan in the back pocket, chips it up towards half back. Baker, Elliott hesitates, kicks towards the centre, ill-directed. Look out! On a collision course, Kellaway and Hall. Both seem to be okay. Gaspar got it to Vardy, comes out to Chaffee. Chaffee swings it wide. Mark is taken by Knights. Backing him up was Callaghan just on the ground. Tivendale, can he kick a goal this time? Runs to 50, it's bending, it doesn't look too flash. It's not, it's another behind.
He's peppering the goals, Tivendale.
That's 5 deliberate shots, I reckon, he's had this quarter. Probably for what, 3 behinds and a couple of out of bounds.
Well, you're not going to get Barry Hall or Callaway taking a short step at the contest. That was great.
It's almost mutual respect in that collision. They didn't hit too hard. There's the siren for 3/4 time. Interesting term. They've increased their lead marginally, the Tigers, but they had to work for it. St Kilda showing a lot more fire there. Although it's fair to say Tivendale, had he kicked straight, had the Tigers kicked straight in that quarter, could have been leading by a lot more.
They certainly could have, Dennis. It's going to stage a separate interesting final 30 minutes of the game. Will the Saints fall away? Will they bite back? And can the Tigers go on with it? That's the big question mark as the Tigers go in ahead by 26 points at 3/4 time.
Start of the final term at Colonial Stadium. Tigers on top by 26 points. Rucks go at it. Everitt decisively thumps it down. Bowden a strong tackle. Gets Ryan down. And another bounce just wide of the centre circle. So the Saints needing some early goals here to make a contest of it. Not without hope, but the second term.
No disrespect to the St Kilda on balls today, but I get the feeling if Harvey, Bourke were out there today, they'd be feasting on Spider Everitt.
Everitt into the path of Knights, just going to make the point clever.
Through
hand
that
pass. Well, yes, it came quickly from Chaffee to Zilla, kicks it out wide. Callaghan knocking it towards the boundary line. Hudson brought him down. This is Peckett. Peckett cramped against the boundary, did well. Beetham running out of space, looping hand pass over the top. Well played. It comes across to Thompson, claimed from behind Beetham. Back to Jones, who knocked it to Thompson, but he can't keep it in this time. And across the boundary line he goes. Just going to make the point. It was the second term really that put St Kilda in this hole. It's Malcolm Blight finding something to chuckle about out there, or in there. Hawkins.
He's wondering when Steve Hanley's going to have another bounce in the middle.
Campbell gets to King. King's on the wing down towards half forward. Timely fist from Garrick. Now a push, says the umpire. Off the ball. Callaghan involved in a wrestle with Tivendale, but the ball had ricocheted in their direction, but the free kick comes back to Richardson. Richardson, forward of the wing, pulls it back. Missed by Holland. Waiting behind Davis, run down by Pettifer. Just manages to get the kick away up towards the wing. Ozzie Jones could have been taken high. No free kick, and the umpire calls for it. So they had reason to be wrestling out there. I didn't see the ball go in their direction just moments ago. They went off the ball. Actually, they were right on top of the ball. So bounce on the wing. 13-10 plays 9-8. Richmond on top. 8 goals in the second term for the Tigers, setting up this lead. Beetham trying to force a passage there, going nowhere, wrestling with Campbell.
Just on the upside, gentlemen, for the Saints, if they were to come back and win this game, they could do enormous things. Don't think about that, Gerard. It's possible. Nothing's impossible in this great game. It could do wonderful things for their season. It's only 4 goals.
Decisively down to Cameron, who kicks towards the 50. Hudson got a hand on the ball. Holland seems to be okay. Left the ground in the third term. Kicks inside the 50. It took a Tiger bounce. Pettifer running away from goal to Holland. Pushed as he kicked, but it worked out okay. It slides across towards centre half forward, and Chaffee has taken the mark directly in front.
Anyone game enough to suggest St Kilda's got a chance here?
No.
Might need to check themselves.
Particularly after this kick, because Chaffee should get the distance, so it's going to be a question of accuracy.
Had to feel sorry there for Callaghan. He sprinted to pick up the loose man, and as his momentum was getting him there, it was a mongrel kick went the other side of Chaffee, which allowed him just to take 2 steps and an easy chest mark.
Chaffee from right on the 50 hooks it behind. First score of the final term.
It's let him down today, the kicking. Chaffee, he's had a lot of footy, but he just hasn't hit targets often enough.
He accumulates his possessions pretty quietly, doesn't he? I mean, you look at his statistics, his 22 touches, 9 marks. It's a very important rebounder for the Tigers, but probably not as penetrating as some.
Gehrig got it to Gale. Gehrig's been very good. This is Hodgson. Is at right half back. 13-11 plays 9-8. Now Hodgson. What's the next link in the chain? I'd go to Everitt. Everitt and Hamill. Not a bad twosome. He goes in that direction. Everitt goes hard, takes the mark, runs inside the centre square, squares the ball towards the outer side. Callaghan's got it now. 75 metres from goal. Low down, Hall missed it. Gaspar the crumb charges out. Back comes Hall, taken front on by Vardy. Had it a long time and then threw it. Hall can't believe it.
Well, he was given no prior opportunity, so I suspect he has been penalised for throwing.
I think so. Meantime, Tigers move it now. This is Cameron. Got it from King. Goes towards half forward. Everitt did well. So did Gehrig. Hit the ground running as he came through in midair to gather that one. Little chip that makes it interesting. Going back, Davis. Looping hand pass over the top. Beetham had to check. He's 55 metres out. The finish terrible. He'd done the hard work. Zilla goes back, takes the mark on the defensive 50. Breaking towards the wing is Ottens. There's a runner inside. Ottens has got the ball. Coughlin is pushing down the ground. Ottens flirts with the idea. Bypasses Coughlin with the kick. Richardson battling with Hodgson. And Hodgson did brilliantly.
He showed great strength there. Because Richo, I assume, just thought he'd be able to push him out of the way. He did lose his balance when he pushed though.
Oh, terrible kick. Well, as it turned out, it bounced to Gehrig, but he had terrible problems. Taken by Bourke. Nobody is back. So Bourke hangs on to it. Gives it to King, who runs to 50. Back goes Plapp, and he takes the defensive mark. Justin Plapp, wasting no time. Elliott is on towards the outer side. In fact, it falls in shorter than that. This is Begley.
Beetham off and Kazitsky is back on.
Gehrig, awkward half volley. Goes back to Begley. Begley, interesting kick.
Going like losers just at the moment, Fish.
A free kick, I think, is coming back to Baker against Campbell. So the Saints a bit lucky there. Baker goes out wide. Callaghan, forward of half back. Jabs it down towards half forward. Stretching is Ryan. Oh, trying hard enough. But the skills at the moment letting them down. Ryan hard against the boundary line, kicks well inside the 50. Gaspar will fly from behind, virtually uncontested. Darren Gaspar across the face of goal, not normally the best kick. That was no exception. Well, Tivendale, I suppose, could have gone at it hard, but the danger was, had he gone to ground and not marked it, there were a couple of Saints lurking. The kick needed to be up.
The Saints' choice of the right option sometimes is questionable, and they just don't seem to have the confidence or the presence of mind just to hold and wait for it to present itself, particularly going forward.
Campbell.
Geez, Dennis, you made a fair observation about one of our boundary umpires throwing the ball in flat and low. This fellow on this side of the ground this quarter appears to want to hit the roof. He is the complete opposite to his compatriot.
This is a day of contrast, isn't it? A day of contrast. As the bird's in the pocket, Ottens crashes in. Thompson was stopped in his tracks.
Interesting, in the pre-match warm-up, I always made a point of watching the central umpires bounce the ball and the boundary umpires throw it in, because it's a small percentage you can get over your opponent just knowing what their throwing patterns are, and often they do contrast a lot, the boundary umpires.
Good crowd today. Bounce close to the boundary line. Ottens over the top. Thompson can't keep it in.
I'll tell you what, Dennis, I reckon the crowd will be around about 40,783, I reckon.
You are unbelievable.
No, he just stood there and counted everybody as they came in.
He's a freak. He's a freak, isn't he?
That's what happens when you get too much time. Boundary throw it in the pocket. Ottens and Everitt. Worth the price of admission, really. It falls to Campbell. High kick back towards half-back. Missed by Holland. Trying to charge through down there was King. Callaghan. Hand passes towards the attacking 50. Kellaway goes hard on Hamill. And the ball spills out of bounds. The Saints making no impression, really. It's a slugging last quarter. 13-11, 9-8. Ottens directs it down. But crumbing it was Everitt initially. Still Everitt. Well played by the big man, falling to the ground, but he coughs it up. Tivendale gets it to King. King from half-back. Why not kick it a little longer? Intended for Holland. Peckett. Well done. Thompson. In space. Thompson. He's tried hard. Kicks down towards Callaghan. Didn't play on according to the umpire. 60 metres from goal. Hall wants it long. That's ignored. Goes to Milne. Milne's taken the mark. A proud favourite. He'll kick it goal from 30 metres out, slight angle.
Well, it was a good decision. Then Barry Hall was really demanding it longer and to the other side, but this kid's very smart. He knows where to find space, and if the delivery is right, as it was on this occasion, he's a fair target. Not tall, but pretty good overhead.
Stephen Milne to keep the Saints alive. Splits the middle. Plenty of energy from that young man. Celebrates.
Well, somebody's got to have some energy out there because it's been a very flat last quarter just at the moment. You would expect that the game was already over. It's been lacklustre. And Kilda, though, they're just 21 points down and well and truly within striking distance. If they can just get a bit of a hurry on.
You coming over my way, there might be a chance.
I'd be staggered if they get over the line, but Dougie's man's on the ground, and when Milne hits the turf, anything can happen.
13-11, 10-8. Good bounce that time. Hooked down by Everitt. They'll work it out of the middle again. Peckett's hand pass, not particularly good. Wide. Thompson initiated this. Peckett gets it again. Kazetsky. Awkward one at the feet of Ryan. Pulls it back to Callaghan. Spots a man to the middle. That's Begley. Begley inside the centre square to Everitt. Everitt running towards the 50. Gets onto his left foot. Goes for distance. Hasn't got the carry. Well, that's interesting. Non-decision in the square. All clear is given. Work that out. Great kick.
Well, I tell you what, we wouldn't want to put our glasses down too soon on this game because although it's hit a flat patch early in the last quarter, Gerard, you're quite right. With a great chain of open players and a great shepherd by Dougie's boys, D.B. Milne. And what about that contest in the goal square? I reckon Aussie Jones may have taken some liberties there, but the result nonetheless was a goal, and the Saints are back in this. Only 15 points of difference. We have a game on our hands, boys.
Yeah, the Tigers realise now that they're under the pump. They'll probably respond, but how can that decision, how can there be a no decision down there when two blokes have got a strangle of each other?
Thompson again got first use of the ball. Peckett gave it up though. Tivendale just gets free. Tivendale across half back to King. Swings it out very wide, close to the boundary line. It stays in. Callaghan gets the kick off. Upended as he kicked. Here comes Hall. Going back with great courage down there was Cameron. Picked up by Zilla. Gets it to King. Feeds it inside. Gaspar hurriedly onto the boot. It wobbles up towards the wing. Elliott's in front. Bourke came hard. Good tackle. Elliott got him down. Was that holding the ball? Not according to the umpire. Ball up on the wing.
Well, no prior opportunity. No ball. So it's a good decision.
Yep.
Callaghan's been important in the middle of the ground. Just in the last quarter, he's starting to amass some possessions.
15 points the Tigers' way. Hawkins, Thompson getting everything at the base of the pack. Everitt standing over Tivendale. Another bounce.
I think young Simon Baker just got in the way there. Thompson's handball is for Peckett, but that's just a victim of circumstance.
See Campbell to the left, very conscious of Thompson. Realising his influence. Ottens hooks it down. That was better. Chaffee kicks inside the 50. And it runs out of bounds.
The Tigers aren't afraid to, not they do that deliberately, but they don't mind the boundary setups. They actually are pretty good at boundary throw-ins forward 50. And we've seen them create a couple of opportunities today, for example. And they won't mind the situation at all.
Ottens is staying back this time, so they don't have a legitimate ruckman here. In from the side was Bourke, missed it completely. Everitt picks it up, throws it on the boot, kicks it back towards the wing, close to the runner.
It's Fleet.
Yeah, Darryl Waitman needs to get out of the way, and the ball is out of bounds.
Just looking two boys at the moment, looks like Ben Holland's playing that kick behind the play in defence for the Tigers.
Mills off, Pettifer on. Under 10 minutes to go now. Boundary throw in. Ottens works his way in front, directs it down. Bowden smothered off the boot. It ricochets to Campbell. Campbell's kick not good. Straight out of bounds.
The loose man's interesting here. Richmond have dropped a couple back. Ben Holland's one. Darren Gasper's also on his own. Barry Hall's got a 2-on-1 situation there. But Tim Elliott's the other man, and he's out the back of this contest where he arguably should be back in defence.
Peckett, quick hands. Thompson quicker. Ryan, Callaghan. Callaghan kicks inside the 50. Hall up in front. Juggled attempt. Could have been held. Cameron knocks it in front. Gaspar's got it. Tackled by Davis. Still Gaspar somehow got away. Arches the back and storms across the defensive 50. Throws it on the boot. Kicked it about 55-60 metres. It bounces down towards centre half by forward. Gale immediately tackled. Baker overran the footy. It's certainly gone up a notch or two. Chaffee had it. Couldn't believe his luck. Kicks it down towards Richardson. Almost going back. Gearig Soccer's off the ground. All Tigers taken by Rogers, who snaps, and I think he's kicked the goal. Sharpest of angles. How about that?
Match-winning goal, I would suggest, Gerard. That squeaky gate you were talking about a little while ago.
Well, they responded, St Kilda, and full credit to them for doing so. And I thought Barry Hall was a bit stiff here, but Darren Gaspar, well, he was just brilliant. Chad Davis, you're going to have, that was a moment where the match could have been decided. He had to just hold on.
Huge goal. A difficult goal too. Can the Saints get a quick reply? They need it. Not this time at least. Thompson picks himself up, the last man up, after wrestling with Hawkins.
Going with the extra man, one in front of Hall, one at the back.
Everitt and Hawkins have done a power of work this afternoon. You can see by their demeanour, it's starting to tell. Hawkins over the top. Peckett's got it somehow. Got out of there. Baker goes again, wrestled to the ground by Tivendale. Loose ball. Peckett tries to pick it up. Spills back between the two on the ground and doesn't come out. All time consuming.
St Kilda have elected to use Plapp as a spare in defence rather than match up Holland.
Umpire Harvey bounces it down alongside the centre circle. Trying to fist it forward Everitt. Hawkins falling to his knees, taken front on by Begley.
It would appear, Dennis, that Steve Handley has just decided that he's just having a bad one in the middle, and it's a good decision. If you're having a shocker, then why bother putting yourself at risk and expose the game to less than acceptable standards? Just go and umpire at one of the other ends of the ground. Let the blokes that can do it, do it.
Maybe they voted. Maybe he lost 2-1. There's Tivendale. Tackled by Begley. It's jarred out of there. Broderick, nicely done. Slips the hand pass away. Bourke. He can run inside the 50. Bourke from 45 metres. Didn't look too good off the boot, but he's got the desired result.
Yeah, Dennis, it was a shocker off the boot, but the scoreboard says it was a goal. He's a bit of an up and under fish when he gets motoring.
Yeah, he did. He was just wasn't superbly balanced there, and you'd like to call it a rainmaker, but it doesn't really wash that sort of a comment at the stadium. But here he goes. He's found it, and he's just dug that out. He's brought out the sandwich, and well, it doesn't matter. The result was just what he desired, and he's a pretty happy man. After missing a sitter earlier in the game, that's the one he wanted back.
Margin out to 27 points now. 7.5 minutes till full time. Everitt and Hawkins both missed it. Broderick again, important. Gets the hand pass away. Bowden searching kick. Richardson and Gearig go back. It's going to bounce through for a goal. Oh, how about that?
You know, the problem is we're going to look back on this game. Richmond may very well win it by 5, 6, maybe even 7 goals. And, well, it would be arguably an unfair indictment on St Kilda, who have toiled, but just haven't been able to finish. And this was, a good goal now. A bit lucky, a good bounce. Gearig did everything right as a full back there, but the bounce beat him.
Nice handle from Broderick to set it up too.
4 goals to Joel Bowden, but Paul Broderick, clever hands.
Brilliant hands.
Yep. Very decisive in the last few minutes. His contribution. Charging through Beetham, somehow steps around Hawkins, kicks inside the 50. Hall slips away and takes the mark. He'll kick from outside the 50. Good time against the Saints. He realises that. He takes no time. He runs in. Vacant goal squares. Got the carry. How's that for a quick reply? They need more of the same.
Well done, Barry. That was a good decision. He lost his footing there for a minute, but rather than wait for a lot of players to get back into the goal square, this is a a good clearance. Caden Beetham's really lifted his rating in the second half. Barry doing the right thing as a forward. He's in front of his opponent. And a lot of those quick kicks out of the centre will land in that region, in that area, forward of the centre square. And he struck that ball very well indeed and cleared it pretty comfortably in the end.
Hardly textbook. Stumbling as you come in. Maybe that's the way to go. Paul's got 2 goals.
Probably squared up for the Bourke goal at the other end.
Yep. Doesn't matter how. 16-11, 12-8. Everitt had it, lost it. Broderick again got it from Knights. Tries to go back. It was intended for Bowden. Otten's got in the row, but eventually got it to Bowden. Across it comes to Campbell. Campbell kicks inside the 50. Gearig has been terrific.
But Broderick inside.
Interesting soccer kick by Richardson, falling to the ground, taken by Peckett. Shrugs a tackle, hugs the boundary line with the kick. Beetham coming back, touched it, and across the line it goes.
Gee, the Tigers break hard from the centre square. We saw Campbell take possession there, but once they made a clear decision that they can't get to the contest or be constructive, they actually break very aggressively and often find themselves on their own for a short pass and an open attack into 50.
Margin 27 points, taken by Baker, dragged off it. Everitt tries to go over the shoulder. Down went Thompson, going nowhere.
Hey Fish, how would you rate Pete Everitt's game today, mate? He's been terrific, hasn't had a spell all day. He's struck brilliantly, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's toiled tirelessly, Hawk, and I've been really impressed with the way he's attacked the contest. He can stand tall today. I think he's taken the points over Ottens. And, well, if the Saints were able to take full advantage of his good ruck work today, Hawk, I reckon they would have been in better shape on the scoreboard.
He's been terrific.
Absorbing duel, that one. 16-11, 12-8. Watch them again. Ottens and Everitt. Interesting start. Down goes Ottens. I think he's going to get a free kick.
Been happening all day and you pluck one late in the match.
Ottens finds a man. Not sure that was the intended, but that will do. Pettifer sliding in behind the leading player, able to take it centimetres from the turf.
See, sometimes if you've got the forward movement, and there was plenty of movement there from the Tigers, Gerard, even an errant kick, sometimes you can get lucky.
Yeah, well, that's what's happened. I think it may have been going for Rogers, but they've had a couple of times now where they've just put it to that spot and it's gone over the head of the first leader and the bloke behind has mopped up. Maybe we're robbing the the Tigers of the credit for a pretty good setup.
Kayne Pettifer gets 50 now.
Against Justin Platt, was it?
Yep.
Is it too close?
I think so. May have been warned to come away and did not. As umpire Hanley spoke to Platt. So Pettifer, point blank range. This should seal it. And he kicks the goal. Not bad coming off the bench. He's got 3.
He's done well, the young fella. Last week he came out and kicked a couple. Look, he's going to be a very important player for the Tigers. He's another weapon in their armoury because he's a young kid we don't know a lot about. But I think as we see Richardson come to the bench, Kayne Pettifer's a young man that we're going to see plenty more of if this season wears on at least.
And Stephen Hanley did have the control of the central area, Dennis, and he's not going to take the bounce. Maybe he's just changed.
It's a Get Hanley campaign running.
No, it's not, but I just think it's a smart way of going. I know that Jeff Gushin, I think, would like to just give the bounce to the blokes who can bounce best.
Yep.
Tivendale bounces off Hamill, taken down, and another ball up.
I mean, if you've got a quick kick, you don't make him kick out from your full back line, do you? You play blokes on their strengths. And I reckon we should, with so much discussion about the bounce, we should just throw in the best bounces each time.
Got to say, umpire Michael Avon is in terrific form. He's bounced like an absolute genius today. And this is 3 in a row for him. His only problem will be fatigue and/or complacency late in the game. 17-11 plays 12-8.
We got his stats for the aftermatch.
Yes, we have. The straight ones. They've all been straight.
Avon calling, boys.
Thank you, Doug.
There's nothing about you, mate.
A voice in the wilderness. There was another good bounce too. Tivendale tries to get it out to Bowden. Storming away as Peckett runs to the 50. Goes very long down towards full forward. Davis goes back. Cameron over the top. Got an arm on it. Knocks it across the line.
Well, it's good to see the Saints still persist throughout the course of the game. There's still 3 to 4 minutes remaining, and there's still a chance to kick a couple of late goals. So, as far as improvement's concerned, they've really got to run games out.
Cameron kicks into the defensive 50.
Kick.
Was low and flat and hard. Got there very quickly. Killaway around the outer side. Broderick. Bowden is on in the middle. Now he's kicked 4. Can he kick his 50? Runs to the 50. Lines up. Looks good. Splits the middle. Best on ground performance, I think, from Joel Bowden.
Well, there's also time for a couple of late ones for the Tigers too, conversely to what I was just saying. But Joel Bowden with time and space just outside 50. Good hands from Kellaway there. And the Tigers have bolted well from the kick-ins. They've got this loose man, a link man. This time it was Broderick. Sits out wide. And they didn't hit his target. Bowden had time and space. Matty Knights has affected the shepherd. And he's just swung that ball late enough to bring up full points. So well done, Joel Bowden. And Dennis might be right. It could be a best on ground performance.
Well, he's kicked 5 goals, 24 possessions, and was very busy in that second term when they took control. Trying to go through their Milne, going nowhere, but at least it's tidy. It's back in the centre circle. Again, it's our man. Not his best effort, but he's overbounced today. Ryan spills behind. Campbell didn't know he was there. Beetham steals it from inside the centre square, kicks inside the 50. Gaspar knocks it to Zilla. Zilla hand passes to his own advantage, tracks it towards the pocket. Tracking him as Jones. Coming through out there is Rogers. Sockers off the ground outside the 50. Hudson got it to Davis. Now Hall. Hall lines up at his 3rd. I think he's got it, has he? He has. Through to Barry Hall.
Well done, Barry.
Could have kicked half a dozen today, Barry Hall, if he had been a little bit more straight.
Well, he's a tyro down there, isn't he, Gerard? He doesn't drop his head. He actually continues to have a go. And
it's a very good focal point. Leon Cameron finally coming from the ground to have a rest. Worked great, well down today, and he no doubt has a minor problem.
Picked up during the week. 8-11, 13-9. Everitt came hard again. He's tried his heart out this afternoon. Campbell feeds it back, taken by Tawney. Tawney inside the centre square, looping hand pass. Zilla couldn't control it. Ryan charged down by Tawney, who followed up nicely. Tawney on the wing, kicks inside the 50. From behind Milne, juggled attempt at the mark, not paid. Claimed immediately by Hall. Practicing as a boundary umpire, tossed it over his head. Tivendale's got it, lines up, and he's got one. That's right. He missed 5 in the 3rd term. That was the hardest of the half dozen.
Yeah. Finally cracked it late in the match. A couple of minutes to go, and well, you do have those runs, Fish. Sometimes you get your opportunities, and your result. There's the boundary umpire throw in there from Stephen Milne.
Well, you wouldn't do it again, would you, if you had your time again? It was just an incorrect decision. His teammates were all forward of him there, and you're going to handball back into the corridor. You're handballing blind. You just ask him for trouble. The pace has gone off the game, and Tivendale deserves that one because he did have he did pepper him in the 3rd quarter, as you said, Gerard.
It's funny though, that was the instinctive one, wasn't it? The others too much time to think.
Campbell again, he's been excellent once again, the captain of the Tigers.
Possibly the 2nd best man on the ground. Elliott goes back, takes the mark. Plays on from half back, drives it towards half forward. Coming across on the angle was Coughlin. It was knocked away by Thompson. Hamill was taken high. This is Kazitsky. Thought about the hand pass. Comes back to Hamill. Hamill inside the centre square. Kicks inside the 50. Intended for Hall. Courageous mark. Going back. Kellaway in front of the leading big man. Sees Holland. He's at left half back as the clock continues to run down. Just over a minute to go now. Tawney. So Richmond will win, but they've been made to work. Long kick towards half forward. In front, Otten's had it knocked away by Everitt. Recovers brilliantly on the ground. Spears the pass to Hamill, who's tried hard.
He's been a good worker for the Saints. Had quite a last quarter. Hasn't been a lot of options for him.
Spider fell over trying to take that mark. He'll be slow to get up, I would imagine. Holland, little chip pass, Ottens. Spider's still on one knee. He's up now, and this is his direct opponent, running down towards half-forward, chased by Hamill. The kick goes inside the 50. It's been a tough year for the Saints, and this afternoon again, it's been very awkward for them. Zilla misses. Just not having the personnel when things go bad.
No, sometimes, and certainly in St Kilda's case, it's just a weight of numbers against quality opposition like the Tigers are, because they have got very strong key position players. Their midfield's been getting some great results of late, so they're always going to have their work cut out. And I suppose today, over the duration of 4 quarters, they just haven't had the firepower.
Voss gave it to Begley around the outer side. He kicks down towards half-forward. Going back is Bourke. Missed the mark. Picked up out there by Callaghan. Steps clear. Campbell. Chaffee may have cramped up there as he gave the ball to Kellaway. Kellaway from half-back goes towards half-forward. There's the siren. It'll be interesting to see, as we see Danny Frawley there, Hawkins and Everitt. It's been played in very good spirit. And the two big men do go across, and a warm shake of the hands there. Everitt tried his hardest.
Yeah, look, that's a good result for the Tigers. They'll jump into, I think it'll be 3rd position on the ladder today as a consequence of that win, and that's just reward for their efforts over the past month. And for the Saints, well, nothing much changes. They've got a lot of work to do, but there's some young guys out there getting a lot of time on the ground, a lot of experience, should hold them in good stead. But the Tigers, well, the army of supporters are fired up, and so they should be there on the march, and who knows what they're capable of. They're throwing themselves right into the mix, and today's performance is the performance of the side that goes in a game with favouritism, should win, do it well, and go into next week in a big game against the Hawks.
Well, the Tigers slow to start. They trailed at quarter time as we go down to Doug Hawkins.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dennis. Paul, just one of those games, mate, where the Saints, they just kept coming, didn't they, dears?
Yeah, no, they had a real crack tonight, and to their credit, they jumped us early and really put us on the back foot. But the boys worked really hard those last 3 quarters and got away with a good win.
I thought your midfield worked very hard after quarter time. Joel Bowden once again in great form last week against the Swans. He was terrific. Again today, I think kicked 5 goals and was outstanding for you.
Yeah, no, he's had a great year, Dougie, and to credit to him, he's worked really hard over the pre-season, got super fit, and he's reaping the rewards at the moment. So
I think too, Paul, the good thing about it, you kicked 19 goals, but you had 10 goal kickers. That's a good sign for you.
Yeah, it has been, Dougie. We've shared them around the last few weeks, and it's probably been 8 to 10 goal kickers, which is great because they can't just get Richo, and we're sharing them around, which is really good. So.
And Paul, 250 to you, mate. Well done. Had a great career. Enjoy the day, mate. Get over the boys. Well done, Broderick. Good luck. Thank you, Dan.
Very skilled player.
He's been one of the brilliant getters in the middle right throughout his career.
Probably not favoured by the rotational system off the bench, the speed of the game, because he's a finesse player, a very clever player, but the speed of the game, plus I guess his age, has caught up with him a little bit.
He's been around for a long time, but he's just the sort of player that a Port Adelaide needs, with so many skillful runners and finishers. They just need a couple of other first possession winners, and that's exactly what Paul Broderick has been. And his work in the middle in the last quarter was quite superb.
Can I just offer my own
one handball?
Sorry, Gerard. I'd just like to offer my own congratulations to Broderick for a great career. Not over yet. He has been a great player. Ben Holland's also had a milestone today. It's a great effort.
Started way back with Fitzroy.
Well, the Tiger fans are very happy about this. They jump up the ladder. They're 3rd tonight after some dark days earlier on. Congratulations to them.